And set to work. It's his 11th big league start. And there's a fastball for a strike as Figgins takes. And we're underway. 83 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Just a slight breeze at 6 miles an hour out of the southeast. And there's another strike. So David Hernandez coming right at Sean Figgins, who was down in the count 0-2.
Yeah, I think pitch him away. Nothing else has worked. Pitch him away, play him that way. PA made a great play on Friday night against him. And you know, Jones a couple of steps to left center and center field. There you go. And until he hits that ball, why throw him anything else? Now, what you can do, throw him a breaking ball. The ones he's hit have been down and in. Jeremy Guthrie lamenting that if he could have gotten the sliders that he threw to lefties, which they hit to righties, and reversed them, he might have been successful. That wasn't the case. Overthrew that ball a little bit. So again, you try to react when you're a young pitcher, and especially when you have a young catcher, to the hitter's bat. Where is it in the strike zone? Is he getting out? You're playing him that way. Make him hit it into your defense.
1-2 pitch foul back as Figgins fights it off to stay alive.
Yeah, David Hernandez's two longest outings were against the Angels in Anaheim and then against the Oaklands when the A's came here in his last start. So he likes those West Coast teams. Which does hail from California.
And he fouls it back. And the count holds 1-2 as Figgins having a hard time reading that fastball. Hernandez, 25 earned runs allowed, and as we showed you in the open, 10 of those runs came in 2 starts. So he has been very consistent with an ERA 3.81. And that just missed outside 2-2.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to use your fastball early on, it's hard to see. The lights don't take effect. It's kind of a twilight zone out there. It's not, doesn't hurt to pitch in and then go away. See, every pitch has been right there. So now Sean Figgins seen about 7 pitches on the outside part of the plate, and we're back to where Guthrie got yesterday. Got ahead 0-2, ran the count 3-2. Figgins doubled down into the corner.
And the payoff pitch coming here, and he fouls it back again. And those 2 pitches that Figgins took for balls to get the count to 3-2, that's the pitch a minor league hitter might chase because they're anxious.
Yeah,
not so here.
Well, you're right. And when we talk about the Angels, with the 17 runs, 9 of them in the 13th inning, they did move into number 1 as far as runs. And there he takes the borderline pitches. And so again, I mean, you know, he's got a number of pitches. He throws mostly 4-seam fastballs. There it is, right across the seams. There is your slider. A little unconventional. And the changeup. Threw some great changeups. In fact, he threw a couple of changeups after the game against Oakland. I said, how'd you hold that pitch? Because whatever the way you held it, remember, it was that good.
Here's Meiser Esturis, and he takes a strike. And we have a very interesting lineup comparison today because the Esturis brothers not only both in the game, but they're each batting second in their respective lineups. Meiser, switch hitter, playing second base. Cesar, the Orioles switch hitter, playing shortstop, and there's a ball outside.
Well, they have such great balance. You know, Esturis is the switch hitter. You have Morales as a switch hitter. Ibar is a switch hitter. Matthews down the line, and then you got Figgins. So if you bring in the lefty later in the ball game, if you start a right-hander, they just turn around. And only Morales with a discernible difference, you know, power numbers and even average. So these guys are pretty much interchangeable if you're Mike Scioscia and you manage this ball club. And they can all run. They can all take the extra base hit. They can go from first to third better than any other team in the American League.
1-2 on Esturis. Figgins draws a throw. There have been 5 stolen base attempts, Jim, against Hernandez. 4 have been successful.
Yeah, he's a big guy, and you know you get the wrong guys on, and Figgins is one of those with 37 steals. And that's the last thing he wanted to do. It's walk him.
And again, the hitter doesn't chase. 2-2. Figgins, by the way, 3rd in the league with those 37 steals.
You know, I asked Mickey Hatcher, their hitting instructor, today. Now we've seen him now for 3 games. I said, do your guys ever get themselves out early in the count, swinging at pitchers' pitches? He said, you know what? The guy on deck has a lot to do with that, and that's Bobby Abreu. He said they go down, they do their work. I've never seen a team center the ball like this team has done it in the 2009 season. And Ron Renneke, their bench coach, said, you know, that's not the kind of team we were last year. We were free swingers, but you get a Latin player like Bobby Abreu. Yeah, they have a number of Latin players. He really made a difference.
Double play ball to Roberts. He'll go to Asturias. Cesar gets his brother Meister at first. So the 4-6-3 erases that leadoff walk and 2 men down.
And part of the process, and a lot of times you won't run a guy until you get one out because you want to take advantage of the hole. So David Hernandez trying to get him out with some other pitches, eventually gets back to what his best pitch is, the fastball. And you could see Asturias trying to get on top of it. He couldn't do it. David Hernandez, Dave Schmidt, the minor league guy, was here signing autographs, part of that '89 Why Not team. He said he has the invisible fastball. In other words, it gets on you. Yeah, and we haven't seen a lot of strikeouts compared to the way in the minor league, but that's the big league hitter being better.
And here's Abreu takes low. In fact, it is exactly half his minor league numbers versus major league numbers in his minor league career, which was 106 games. As we see, Hernandez slipped a little bit there. The cleat didn't catch.
Yeah, he really got a little bit on his heel, and it just slid, and then the off balance. That's when you hold your breath, hope he didn't get hurt. He didn't. He was long away for a fastball strike.
Well, he averaged 10.4 strikeouts per 9 innings in the minor leagues. Exactly half that here, 5.2.
Yeah, you talk to Hernandez, you talk to Tillman, Mattis, even Jason Birkin with his limited experience. They all tell you that's the big difference they see. Hitters are better, more stronger. They know the strike zone. They hit what they want until you get them to 2 strikes, and then they don't. All hitters expand the strike zone when you get ahead of them with 2 strikes. But Abreu, he goes up there. You know, I've told a story before. He was up 683 times at last year. He took the first pitch 630 times.
And he got him. There's a good-looking breaking ball. So Hernandez went to 1 and 2 on all 3 hitters. Walk and none left. We head to the bottom of the first. Here come the Birds. Here's the Orioles Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Brian Roberts in the leadoff spot. 7 out of 18 with 5 doubles, 4 ribbies in the series. Asturias, Jones, and Markakis with Scott Wieters and Mora. Wigginton DHs. PA and left. Nolan Reimold gets the night off.
Take a look at our PNC scouting report. Well, he's won 4 of the last 5 because for him health is wealth. Elbow problems early on. Better on the road. 4 and 2. That end home. 1 and 4 there. And second half type of guy. 26 and 18. Coming off a complete game 3 hitter. I watched part of that game, and it wasn't his usually 95 to 96, but he threw 93. Breaking ball was real good. And again, when he's on, for a young pitcher, he's only 26. Darting slider, fastball with a little bit extra, and a very, very good changeup. He's really what our young pitchers are going to get to. He came on the scene in 2006, was very good, then struggled the next year, couldn't win on the road, and then last year was an all-star, ended up going 16 and 7, and then the arm injuries this year.
Well, you mentioned he's only 26 years old, already in his prime, and he already has 56 major league wins. Part of that, his talent and ability to adjust, and also playing for contending teams every year of his career.
Well, that's the one thing when you look at the Oriole young pitchers. You play for the The Angels, you have played on a team that last year won 100 games. They're usually up there in the mid to 90, close to 100. They've won 5 out of 6 divisions. It's a pretty good team to play for. You know, they have a manager that won't settle for anything less when it comes to playing good defense, and they've always had until this year, and even though the bullpen's gotten better, they've always had an outstanding bullpen.
There's the 1-2, and there's a base hit in the right field. So Brian Roberts stays hot, extends his hitting streak to 7 consecutive games, carrying over from yesterday afternoon, where he was a one-man mission almost.
Well, he can hit any pitch you throw up there, and he can do it this year from both righty, lefty. You can see right there. You know, you look at his numbers: 16 doubles, 29 doubles left-handed, 16 of them right-handed. That's how you get to 45, and pretty special company. You were talking about when we saw that. Look at the names on there.
It's incredible. Musial, Tris Speaker, Hank Greenberg, Charlie Gehringer, Napoleon Lajoie, and oh yes, Brian Roberts. He is in that elite company. So
doubles machine, and when he gets on, when his whim is with him, he can steal bases.
There's Cesar Estura. So Roberts now with a 7-game hitting streak. And it's down and in. As consistent as Santana has been lately, the Orioles did get to him when he faced the Birds on July 3rd in Anaheim. And that night, his mound opponent was David Hernandez, the exact same matchup we have tonight.
Yeah, it was close early, and then the Orioles expanded the lead. And David Hernandez got into the 7th inning before the bullpen came to the rescue.
But Santana lasted only 5 innings. He allowed 6 runs, 4 earned on 8 hits.
Yeah, they're the numbers we talked about, home and a road. So much lower ERA on the road. But a lot of it had to do with when you pitch and how you feel. He was hurt early on. And he kept trying to come back, Jim. And, you know, one of the things when you hurt your elbow or your forearm, you know, we saw Lackey with some elbow problems, and the same, forearm problems, and Santana with the elbow. Your extension, and when you lose your extension, you lose the late life, you lose the command. You don't really know how the ball comes off your fingers, and you know, for him, I still don't think the velocity's quite back on a regular basis where it was last year in the mid-90s.
1-2 on Asturis. Roberts attracting attention. Bloop foul towards third. Figgins in, can't get there. What an effort. That was off the end of the bat with a reverse spin, and Figgins was deep.
Yeah, see, if that is with less than 2 strikes, he's going to catch this ball because he's going to play shallower because of the ability of Cesar Estura to be able to bunt. But because he takes a step or 2 back, he just misses it by about a foot. He's much deeper in positioning now with 2 strikes because before he was up probably 4 or 5 steps. So a nice little break. Still have that first base hole into right field.
Count holding 1-2 on Asturis, who's had a good homestand. Long look at first, and Santana steps off. Jim was talking about Brian Roberts. 24 steals. He's been caught only 6 times. He is tied for 6th in stolen bases, and his stolen bases seem to come in spurts. He'll have 3 or 4 over a short period of time, and then he'll go 12-15 games without one. Another 1-2 pitch is hit into right field, a base hit over the leap of the first baseman Kendry Morales. Roberts heading to third. Here's the throw from Abreu, a good one, but Roberts slides in as Figgins had to come off the bag. So Brian Roberts hustling around and forcing the issue, and he's at third on the base hit by Asturis.
Yeah, I think he's kind of going to hesitate, and Abreu's got a terrific arm. Throw just a little off, and it goes into Brian. And you can see it's going to be pretty close. Strong throw. It's very difficult. As we mentioned, the Angels do it better than anybody else going from first to third. But part of the problems for the Orioles, whether you're speedy or not, is that this is a very small ballpark, especially in left and right. So the first and third, boy, just what you want. Try to get on the board early.
First 2 hitters reach on base hits. Here's Adam Jones. Adam is looking to get that swing back. He's had a tough homestand. At 289, second on the club with 19 home runs. And he has driven in 67 runs, and he fouls it back. And the outfield overall, Jim, including Nolan Reimold, who is not starting in the game tonight. But this outfield, very young, but they have been very productive as a group.
Have they ever? There are the numbers. So only the Angels, and again, they're the number 1 team when it comes to run scores. The Orioles come into this game number 10. And the Orioles outfield a big part of that. They play him about 3 steps to right field.
There's a check swing towards third. Figgins will go to second out there. No throw back to first. So that'll be an RBI ground out for Adam Jones. And the Orioles grab the 1-0 lead.
Yeah,
they didn't need the swing, and he gets a ribby.
Well, but we saw that yesterday, the ability to get to third base with less than 2 outs. In this case, there was nobody out. So Santana makes a good pitch. Watch him reach for it. Watch Adam go out there. I mean, check swing because it's a good slider, and then Figgins, the only thing he can do is get the lead runner. And Brian Roberts makes it 1-0. The interesting thing is, if you took the first pitch and gave it to Adam Jones about 2 months ago, it's going over the wall. But when you're struggling a little bit, you miss the pitches that are maybe a little more hittable.
Markakis takes a strike.
Yeah, there's your fastball. We'll kind of see what the velocity is on it. 89. See, last year in the mid-90s. Doesn't mean you can't pitch that way, but I think that's kind of a health-related situation. He was about 93 in that 3-hitter coming off his last start.
Pitch out. Jones was not going. Throw behind him, but he gets back standing up.
Yeah, Mathis 20%, 9 of 46. Napoli 16 of 73. And one thing I saw that there's a number when Jeff Mathis, and you talked about the fact that the Angels have a winning tradition, 124 and 71 when he catches. So he's a good catch and throw guy. Calls a good game. Been hitting well as of late. Napoli, of course, with a lot more power than Mathis. Not that Mathis can't hit home runs, but he's there to control the running game and make sure the pitchers do their best.
Ball and a strike on Markakis. A run in, 1 down. Throw behind Markakis, and this time Adam has to dive back in. Adam has just 9 steals on the year, but the Angels respecting the speed on the bases. He also had a pretty big secondary lead there.
Well, that's part of it. You're not going to steal. That's what you want to get. Don't want to get doubled up, but you want to be able to score in a double. Certainly has the speed to do that.
There's the 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball for a strike. Markakis took. The Orioles really not a running team. They have 61 stolen bases, but Brian Roberts has 24 of those. They're more of a play for the big inning kind of a team.
Yeah, and they don't have a lot of speed. I mean, Adam last year stole 10 bases. 10 out of 13.
Markakis fisted the second baseman as Torres has a play, and he has it for the second out. Well, here comes Luke Scott, who yesterday found his stroke. He had a double and a home run. And you look at his production on the year. Let's not forget he spent some time on the disabled list. But he has 20 home runs to lead the Orioles club. Now, here are the fewest at-bats for the players with 20 home runs in the league. And Luke Scott is right there with Alex Rodriguez and Jim Thome. Rodriguez also spent some time on the DL this year.
Yeah, and Cruz on the DL now with a sprained ankle. Swisher,
who does not play every day, although he plays a lot.
Even though he predicted when they came in early in the year, opening day, that he would probably get it close to 500 at bat.
There's a ball ripped in the right field for a base hit. Let's see if Adam Jones can score. That ball goes to the corner. Juan Samuel will hold Jones, and Luke Scott pulls into second with a 2-out double.
Well, 4 games here starting on Friday night, and if you're a right fielder, whether you're Abreu or Markakis, you have learned to play that right field corner. They have been, both of them, down in that corner countless times. I mean, this is similar. When Scott gets hot, he doesn't miss the fastball. Now watch how Abreu plays it off the wall. And this is what Juan Samuel is looking at. He's way down the line. You can see him come towards the runner coming into third to stop him. So again, if the ball caroms off or gets stuck underneath the fence, Jones scores. But because Abreu plays it perfectly, we got runners at second and third for Wieters.
So the Orioles, with another 2-out base hit, will add to the lead here in the first inning. Yesterday, it was the Angels scoring first. They got 3 in there at bat in the top of the first. The Orioles have a chance to equal that here tonight. Wieters takes a strike at the knees.
Well, there goes your shutout and your 3-hitter. He's already given up 3 hits. But you know what? This is really, and it's early. You come out of the bullpen as a starting pitcher. You don't know what kind of stuff you're having. You're coming off one of your best starts of the year, and a base hit here, right, gives them your 3-run inning, which is what the Angels did against Denver. And there's that changeup we talked about. To me, that's what made Ervin Santana as good as he was early on in his career. He threw very hard, but he had this pitch. So it slows the bat down. And when you can throw in the mid-90s as he used to, boy, it's tough to to get on that fastball.
0-2 on Wieters. And it's down and in. You saw the pitch tracks, brought to you by Northrop Grumman. Northrop Grumman Information Systems is now hiring. Get online and go to meetngc.com/is. And Matt Wieters yesterday came off the bench and extended his modest hitting streak with a base hit and an RBI. He's now hitting 5 in a row.
And he's hit like 17 out of 20. So the consistency. I was watching him hit today in batting practice, and it's only BP, but you talk to Terry Crowley, the hitting instructor, and he said, listen, and Crow talked about this when the Orioles were up in Toronto. He said, I mean, this is a youngster. I don't care how much money he got to sign, how highly touted. You have to come to the big leagues, deal with a young pitching staff, and figure out how to hit from both sides. That is quite a tall order, even if you're 6'5".
Yeah, he certainly has the most on his plate.
Yeah, no doubt he has gotten much more consistent.
And he pulls it foul past T-Bone Shelby.
I mean, he's going to figure it out. I would be very, very surprised if he didn't. I mean, he's going to go home. I don't know what he's going to do in the winter. I don't know if he's going to be a Brian Roberts or Adam Jones and do the athlete performance or really get into a rigorous training program. You know he's going to do a lot of work. But he's going to be able to let everything kind of settle down and kind of map out 2010. And now he gets to see the changeup the second time and takes it as it dives off the plate.
Well, I would expect that all these young players who are experiencing the Baltimore summer for the first time will have some kind of an idea about how important their stamina is, and that might factor into their off-season conditioning. 3-2 pitch is pulled foul.
And this hasn't been a hot summer.
Right.
I mean, this has been pretty mild. Doesn't mean it doesn't get hot and humid, but we haven't had those 95, 96, 98, 100-degree days. It's funny when I look back at my career, we used to have 14, 17-day road trips. You could miss the bad weather. You could have those stagnant fronts that would come over the east, and you could be out in, L.A. and Oakland and places like that. What win?
3-2, he got it. Good off-speed pitch that broke under the swing of Wieters, so the Orioles get a run, strand 2. Second inning coming up, 1-0 Orioles. $1 worth of American Classics scratch-off tickets for the Maryland Lottery. For every Oriole home run hit in the game tonight, you could have a chance to win as well. Enter by logging on to MassonSports.com. Lovely evening here at Oriole Park. The twilight still overhead. Lights have not yet taken effect on the field, and David Hernandez now has a 1-0 lead. Vladimir Guerrero back in the lineup today. He was a scratch in yesterday's game because he was hit by a pitch in the game on Saturday night. His leg was tightening up behind the knee where he was hit by the pitch by Clay Meredith.
Yeah, he said he felt good. I said, can't you dance? You should have danced out of the way. He just started smiling. He got a haircut when we were out there with those long Manny type locks. Boy, an amazing career. He could have signed with the Orioles back in 2004 instead of signed with the Angels.
High high pop-up wide of first. Here comes Luke Scott. Near the dugout, has a play, and he's got it for the out. And one down on the foul pop-up by Vlad Guerrero. So David Hernandez.
Yeah, that's
this
what
season. They're the numbers.
Yeah, the tough in the clutch we talked about. So if you're going to get them on, now I think this is going to change. And the reason I say this is because the reason, and we'll show you, they're the numbers. So it's, I mean, those are terrific numbers. 163 with runners in scoring position and runners on. But he would throw from the stretch. They have moved him from the far edge over by first base. Now where his foot is actually completely, you can see it all on the pitching rubber. He used to be so far left, he really wasn't using the rubber to push off of. So he made the change. He would have been all the way over here with not using that pitching rubber is 24 inches by 6 inches, and it's down about 6, 8, 10 inches. So you're supposed to push off it. So now all of a sudden, so my theory is from the windup he wasn't pushing off. When from the stretch he'd have more of his foot on, so the numbers would go down. And Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, and Alan Dunn, the bullpen, said, well, that's why we moved him over. And he had one of his best starts, career high in strikeouts with 6 against Oakland.
Tap foul.
So get a youngster with a power arm. That's what you want. You want a guy who's not afraid to throw the ball over the plate. And like I said, he threw some changeups that were just outstanding against Oakland. And here's your true test. Second time they faced you, so they kind of know, even though that game against the Angels was one of his best.
And there's a hanging breaking ball ripped in the left field for a base hit. So Juan Rivera has the Angels' first base hit. He's on with one down in the second. Don't forget the Yankees will be making their final visit to Oriole Park Monday, August 31st through Wednesday, September the 2nd. Great seats still available for each game, but they're going fast. Tuesday, September 1st. Don't miss Ollie's Bargain Night. All presented by Ollie's Bargain Outlet. Upper reserve seats just $8. 888-848-BIRD or online at Orioles.com.
Yeah, how about those Yankees with the best record in baseball? Somehow.
The Angels are 21-8 since the break. Only the Yankees are better by 1 game.
So I guess it helps if you spend $450 million.
Doesn't hurt.
Well, they should project it.
They still have to do something in the postseason, but it certainly is working out.
Well, since the postseasons usually are about pitching matchups, kind of take my chances. You know, it's interesting when we talk about the Angels, we talked about Abreu, and Mickey Hatcher also said now a guy that got over $180 million had a lot to do, and that was Mark Teixeira, because they got to see him when he came over for the last couple of months last year be one of the more selective hitters. Mike Scioscia was talking about that. So you get Teixeira at the end of last year, you sign Abreu 10 days before spring training starts, you get another veteran, I mean about 5 years older or so. There's a strike.
Kendrick Morales switch hitter batting left.
Yeah, so now you get these young hitters, and then you've got Abreu. I mean, speaks the same language as Morales. Morales comes from Cuba, and Abreu from Venezuela.
Long look to first, 3-1, pop foul out of play. And, you look at David Hernandez, and he is exactly the type of pitcher, and Andy McPhail talks all the time about the inventory and developing and growing the arms. In Joe Jordan's first draft in 2005, he was a 16th round pick. And if you look at how the Orioles brought him along, he was a junior college pitcher, not out of high school, so he was a year or two older. But he made each stop along the way without interruption. He was brought along exactly one step at a time. As a 3-2 pitch comes to Morales with a runner going, and it's foul ball. When he signed in 05, he was assigned to Aberdeen, so right away in high A ball. The following year, the entire year at Delmarva. Year after that, the entire year at Frederick. Year after that, the entire year at Bowie. And this year, he was in AAA until promoted here. And you like to see that with a prospect. Not only did he make it to the big leagues, but that he mastered each level.
And he also signed out of high school, so he was only 23. I mean, where he signed young. And so now he's had the chance to get some innings.
And it's fouled back. And, the player the Orioles got back in the trade of Aubrey Huff today, another pitcher. So they add another pitcher to the mix, to the inventory, if you will. Brett Jacobson, who is a relief pitcher has a pretty good arm. Apparently has trouble maintaining the velocity, which is why the Tigers made him a reliever. But he is the 10th best rated prospect in the Tigers organization. He's now an Oriole, and he's only in his second pro season. So you add another to the inventory. Runner goes again, and the pitch is fouled off.
But see, you're seeing, and to correct myself, he actually did go to college for a brief time.
Junior college.
Junior college. But again, this is what the Angels do so well. You get to 3-2 because you started out 3-0. They're going to start the runner. Morales, I mean, he fouled off some good pitches, and they've done this they've done it since seems like the last couple of months. And one of the best records in baseball. They just have the knack of being able to make contact. And that goes back to what their hitting instructor said. They just have these drills. Abreu kind of leads the brigade, and they make a lot of contact, and it's solid.
Runner goes again, 3-2, high fly ball right field, hit deep. Markakis is back on it, near the wall, and he reaches up and he can't get it, but it's in play. The runner had the hold, and now they're going to say it's a home run. It went on top of the roof by the ground screw shed.
Now, I think right now, Nick Markakis is saying that ball go out of here to Adam Jones. And so let's see, where did it go? Yep, right over his glove off the roof. Boy, 6 inches, maybe 4 inches. On the run. And right to the wall. Pretty close to it.
So a 2-run home run by Morales, and the Angels have the lead at 2-1.
So the 23rd home run hit left-handed of his 26.
And here's Eric Ibar, first ball swinging. Morrow taking charge near the mound, has it for the out. So in his start against the Angels on July 3rd in Anaheim, Kendry Morales hit a 2-run home run, and he hits one here tonight.
Yeah, it was in the later innings. But again, go back to that at bat. We always talk about fouling off the pitcher's pitches and getting to a pitch you can hit, and that's what happened. Fouled off some good breaking balls, fastballs away, and eventually got a ball. Seeing it about the eighth pitch, and ends up hitting a home run.
2 down now. That'll bring up Gary Matthews, who's back in center field tonight. Torrey Hunter came off the DL yesterday and did play, and he's getting the night off. It was a long game in the heat yesterday. 4 hours and 28 minutes. One is high.
Well, Abreu, Rivera, Morales, Ibar, they had 3 hits, and then John Diggins had 4.
And Matthews, a one-time Oriole. When Gary was an Oriole, he would live here in the offseason. That was back in the Jerry Hairston era. He would work out with Tim Bishop when Bish was the Oriole strength coach. He would have those off-season programs, and all the players who lived here year-round would meet up on them 3 days a week and do their baseball-type work, and then maybe play some basketball. And Gary really got into that.
Yeah, and he actually had some pretty decent years. He didn't hit a lot of home runs, but of course played a great center field as he'll go down. It's kind of the irony. He played here in 2002. He was traded for John Bale. The next year wasn't as good as his first year. He was making $800,000. He would end up going to Texas, have a real good year there, and sign for $50 million with the Angels. As Rick Cranham's going to come out and talk to David Hernandez. Boy, what a difference. Overpriced at $800,000, and eventually you'll get a 5-year deal.
Well, it's when you have that year.
Yeah, well, exactly. You're right. And that year was .313 with 19 home runs, 79 RBIs for the Rangers.
But Jeff Mathis now will bat with 2 down. Second walk allowed by David Hernandez puts Matthews on. Gary no longer the stolen base threat he was earlier in his career. Had some knee problems.
Yeah, the patellar tendon problems last year, which he said is a lot better. And he played very, very well when Torrey Hunter, who just came off the DL, was missing 32 games.
Mathis takes low.
And you can see when David Hernandez struggles, he starts going left. And you can see it. Head goes left, front shoulder goes left. And just try to stay closed long enough to get that straight line. And there it is. Boy, is that nasty. If you could bottle that pitch, and when I worked with little leaguers down in Palm Beach Gardens, when you'd have your 11 and 12-year-olders, one of them Chris Ballstead, who now pitches for the Marlins, when you throw that pitch, I said, what would that feel like? Because pitching is so much feel and touch. And boy, when you get that feeling and you can repeat it, pitching becomes less difficult.
1-1 is fouled back. A ball and 2 strikes on the number 9 batter, Jeff Mathis. Well, David Hernandez, 28 wins in his minor league career. He's 28 and 27. But he did pitch in 106 minor league games along all those stops we mentioned, and 532 and a third minor league innings. And as a 16th round draft choice, he had to earn his way at each stop and show the development. And the one thing he has is the arm. You can't teach the arm. You can help him out with the other parts of it.
Yeah, you work on the windup. When I talked to Rick Kranitz, the Oriole pitching coach in spring training, they said occasionally he'll actually swing his leg too far and the front shoulder will dive, so it puts you in a very difficult position. So they work on picking up that front leg, which is his left leg. Just pick it up and go.
A little bit low ball 3.
And again, you can see, I mean, what you try to do is draw a line from the tip of your right foot towards home plate and stay on that line. But if you start going left, boy, it's difficult to throw strikes. You lose that late life when the ball doesn't carry through the hitter to the catcher. And now because it's 3-2, they'll be running.
Well, 3-2, Matthews goes, and it's taken low ball 4. So again, there's the major league hitter patient. And 2 on back-to-back walks with 2 down.
So now you get to a guy that came in hitting .387 with runners in scoring position and .344 from this side of the plate. And he chronicled the kind of series he's having against the Orioles. Unbelievable. He came in with an on-base percentage. I mean, he's been up 446 times at 39%. It's up to 41%. That's a big rise. With a good curveball. Wasn't looking for it.
Jim, one number that jumps out at you with Hernandez, and of course this is a rookie trying to figure it out at this level, but he's averaging 18.5 pitches per inning. And part of that reason is the fact of what we're seeing here in this game early on is getting ahead in some counts, but the major league hitters being able to foul off some good pitches, take the close pitches, earn the walk, and it prolongs the inning.
So if you went to him and you said, okay, how could we get that pitch count lower, we would say fastball command. And you can see it. You know, he started out with a good curveball, came back with a changeup, his second or third pitch, depending on what night he's pitching, and then he misses with a fastball and he's into a hitter's count. So Figgins right now, as he has in this series, is going to look fastball. He'll let the breaking ball speed up his bat, but he's going to sit on the heater. And he throws him a curveball, and it's a great pitch, Jim. But for a 23-year-old guy in his first year to throw 2-1 curveballs, and you don't get him over that much, you're going to get these counts.
Well, Figgins now really in the driver's seat here, and runners in scoring position. The Orioles Friday night 11 out of 22. Look at the Angels yesterday, 12 for 24 and 6 for 8 in that 13th inning. There's a strike, 3-2. That inning was just amazing. 9 runs scored, 8 hits and a walk in that inning. They all scored. So the runners will go here, 3-2 with 2 men down. Matthews from second, Mathis from first. And it's fouled off.
See, so here we again. We saw Morales do it. Foul away the good pitches. Eventually ran the count to 3-2. Hit a home run. That's how they got to 2 runs. Right there. That's a perfect pitch. But what you'd like to do it is establish that pitch early on and then get him to swing at the breaking balls. Mattis did against Figgins. Struck him out after he got ahead with a couple of fastballs with a curveball.
3-2 is hit right to Cesar Astros. Even the outs from Sean Figgins are hit hard. Well, we're going to the bottom of the second. Burns down by a run. Mora, Wigginton, and PA are coming up.
Brett Jacobson. And with Aubrey gone, the big question is who will play first base for the Orioles, not only for the remainder of this season, but for the future. And today, Andy McPhail said, well, Luke Scott will get a good look there over the next 6 weeks, and that he hasn't ruled Luke out there long term. But he also mentioned that the Orioles scouts are compiling a list of possible free agents who might be available outside of the organization this offseason. But he said just how hard we look outside of the organization depends on how our minor league prospects do for the remainder of the year, and that's Brandon Snyder, Ryan Hughes, and also Michael Aubrey. Now, we do know one of those three will be called up tomorrow to take Aubrey Huff's roster spot, but we do know it's not Brandon Snyder today. Dave Tremblay confirmed Brandon will remain in AAA at least until the September call-up, so look for either Michael Aubrey or Ryan Hughes tomorrow with the Orioles. Jim?
All right, Amber, thank you very much. So as Amber said, Aubrey might replace Aubrey. Michael Aubrey might replace Aubrey Huff. We'll see.
Or it could be John Hughes, who the Orioles got for Greg Zahn, who actually incidentally hit a grand slam to help the Rays win yesterday. 6th grand slam of his career. So Zahny, congratulations. There is John Ryan Hughes, who they did trade, eventually got the player to be named later, and then Michael Aubrey. I like that, Aubrey for Aubrey.
I was waiting for you to react to that. I thought it was a pretty good one. Check swing, and he went too far. 2-2 the count. Melvin doesn't agree as he has a check swing there. So 2-2, Moore leading off. Melvin has hit in 2 straight games, and he takes it low, ball 3.
Yeah, Melvin's been swinging the bat well. I mean, 16 out of 21. The power numbers are certainly down. His last home run on the 11th of July.
And Melvin fights off a good pitcher's pitch, so the Orioles trying to give Irvin Santana what the Angels have been giving David Hernandez, tough at-bats.
Yeah, and that's a little extra. He was throwing 89, 90 in the first inning. That was 94. Melvin almost he was robbed of extra base hits the other night by a Brave. Made a great running catch over his head, deep right center field.
And a called strike 3. Sam Holbrook calls him out. Melvin was about to go to first base. He thought he had ball 4.
So the slider is up, so Melvin sees it. And maybe the edge of the ball. It's all that matters what the home plate umpire thinks. But you can see it's not on the swing. Melvin thought it just broke off the outside corner. Apparently not.
There's Ty Wigginton, who was DHing tonight with Luke Scott at first base. Ty Wigginton, one of the hitters in this lineup, and I'm sure this is one of the reasons he's in there. Very good numbers against Irvin Santana.
Well, he's also in there because they traded Aubrey. There are the numbers against Santana. Bryant already with a single, scored a run. Markakis popped up, and Moore got called out on a questionable pitch, and Scott hit a double. Pretty good slider right there. What an equalizer if you have that to handle the righties. And then off the outside corner, and of course that slider is the same pitch that struck out Matt Wieters with a couple of guys on second and third in the first. Orioles with an opportunity to have a 3 spot if they could have gotten the 2-out base hit.
There's the 2-2. It's hit the center field. Gary Matthews is there, and he has it for the out, and 2 down here in the Oriole 3rd inning. Latest edition of the Orioles official publication, Orioles Magazine, is on sale here at the ballpark. This issue features Matt Wieters, Brad Bergeson, 2009 first-round draft pick Matt Hobgood, the 1989 Why Not Orioles team, and inside information on all your favorite future, current, and former Birds. Pick up the copy on your next visit to Camden Yards. And there's Matt Wieters, who is on the cover. So 2 down as Wigginton skies out. Here's PA. Of course, Wigginton can also play first base. He's played there quite a bit this year. Interesting to see which of the players that Amber talked about is promoted. The Orioles playing 1 player short tonight. It's a 3-man bench. Michael Aubrey, the Orioles got this season in a minor league trade with the Indians. He's 26. He's in his 7th pro season. Ryan Hughes, who the Orioles just got in the Greg Zahn trade, he is also 26, or turned 26 in September. He's in his 5th year. So Michael Aubrey has a little bit more professional experience, having been a pro ball 2 more years.
And then you get the luxury. I mean, we have seen Felix PA shorten his swing. Terry Crowley, the hitting instructor, said hey, we go from point A, which is where you start your swing, to point B where you it's a big strike zone tonight, I'll tell you that. I'd like to think that hopefully David Hernandez will take advantage of it, because that ball borderline up and in. But anyway, you start at A and contact is B. And he had a funky long swing in spring training. He's hit over 300 the last 39 games. And you just watch him hit. I mean, even his approach in batting practice is so much better. And I would imagine, Nolan Reimold with the Achilles, nursing that left Achilles problem. You just traded Aubrey Huff. You'll probably see Felix PA get some more at-bats as the season progresses. And maybe he'll be able to take advantage of it.
Well, one thing this does with Aubrey Huff traded, of course, they do lose that bat and the potential for his power numbers. As you see Nolan Reimold sitting it out, it opens up a lot of at-bats in that DH spot. Because now Luke Scott will get a good look at first base. 2-2 is low ball 3, and that means somebody will have to pick up those at-bats tonight. It's Ty Wigginton.
Yeah, and I think you get to find out about these guys. Wigginton's going to play on it pretty much regular. You'll see Reimold, obviously, because he's had a nice year. PA will get some at-bats. As you mentioned, they'll bring somebody up. It will hurt you over the next 6 weeks. Because we all know that Aubrey Huff, even though, I suppose he could have come back for another year or whatever, he can hit. He's having a pretty typical year, but last year he had a career year.
Yeah, on the homestand he was just 4 for 19, but one of those hits a home run. And he's a proven run producer. As PA strikes out, that ends the inning. So Santana gets the lead, and he retires the Orioles 3 up and 3 down in the bottom of the second. Orioles baseball on MASN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your next trip at southwest.com. And by PNC. PNC leading the way. Now, do you think that guy delivers? They're making the nice sausage there. That'd be a nice mid-game snack, wouldn't it?
Well, they want us to talk about him.
I don't know where in the ballpark he is.
Boog used to send sandwiches up here.
Well, Boog's big time in us now.
I know. Well, why not? He's Boog Powell.
That's right. Ball and a strike on Meister Asturias. Abreu will follow, then Guerrero. High fly ball center. Easy play for Adam Jones. And Adam has it for the out and 1 down. Don't forget about Sunday, August 30th. It is American Classics Day here at the ballpark, presented by the Maryland Lottery. Fans at the game at 1:35 against Cleveland can enjoy $1 hot dogs and $1 sodas. So get the family and friends together for an even more affordable day of Orioles baseball. 888-848-BIRD, online Orioles.com.
And for the record, Boog would never big time. He's just not that type of guy.
Kidding.
Not Mr. Powell.
I saw him the other day. He was recording a commercial on the field at TSA.
Maybe he was going to big time us.
The American Cancer Society.
PSA. That's good, too. The Boog who recovered from colon cancer. Yeah.
So
I went down to see him at the hospital, and I walked in, He's in a double bed. It made it look like a little cot. I go, one guy, you know, because Phil gets such a
great guy. Be careful, he might be here.
No. I said one guy to a bed. Come on. And of course he did. He really came out of that great. So that's great to hear. And
he's always smiling. That's what I like about Booth.
Wow, if you could hit like that. You know, big
I
smile
couldn't.
on
That's
your
why
big
I'm
bag.
here.
No, yeah. Lighten up, Jimmy. Come on.
Here's the 1-1. It's on the corner for a strike. Good pitch, 1-2. And you could see how many reactions like Bobby Abreu just had.
Well, yeah. Bobby should just turn around and say, Sam, here's the deal. I'll let you know when it's a strike. If I take the first pitch, which I always do anyway, pretty much until the game progresses, after that I'll call it.
1-2 pitch, curveball bounced to second. Ooh, nice hop. Played to the left by Brian Roberts, and Abreu's out 2 down.
So you see what you see out of David Hernandez. You know, a little trouble commanding the curveball, but I did pretty well. It's a tough pitch to command because of the break. But when he throws the good ones, and that was one of those. You take one of the more disciplined, better hitters in the American League, and it's just a nice routine ground ball because he gets on top of it.
And he was 1-2.
Yeah, well, yes. And then Abreu, what does he have to do? He's got to chase, got to protect.
Vladimir Guerrero now. There's another good-looking breaking ball.
Yeah, now, you just don't want to throw too many to Vladdy because we saw it off of Chris Tillman. He looked for one and waffled it to left field for a single. Maybe it was a double, I guess. And right there, he started. The amazing thing about Vladimir, I mean, all the home runs, he hit his 400th home run. In one game, he hit 399 and 400. But he's never struck out 100 times. Ever.
Boy, he rarely has 2 strikes.
Well, that's a whole other thing.
Here's Adam Jones, and he has it for the out. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Angels. Mid-third in Baltimore, and a 2-1 Angels lead.
From the 2009 season are on sale beginning in the 6th inning of each game, located inside Gate D at the Orioles Reach Community Booth on the lower concourse. Prices start at $30 and all proceeds benefit the Orioles Charitable Foundation. Stop by the Orioles Reach Community Booth to pick up a special Orioles memento and help the Orioles Charitable Foundation. Jim?
All right, Amber, thank you very much. That is a fantastic idea. As you saw there, those are the baseballs that are in the game. They have the New Jersey mud on them, and they're the balls that are thrown out of play by the umpire. Fans love that kind of stuff. It was in the game, and you can help out charitable causes. That is a great idea.
Yeah, it used to be a give away the bats and all that. Now they explode. You could give away 2 bats.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't want to, though.
No.
Splinters.
Well, yeah, it's shards.
Here's Brian Roberts, who extended his hitting streak to 7 straight with a first-inning single. He scored the Orioles' run. That pitch taken low.
Santana, his best pitch tonight has been that breaking ball. It's been great.
26 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. He's in his 5th season. 0-1 in his career here at Camden Yards. Roberts goes the other way, and it slices back foul. In his career against the Orioles, he is 2-3. including his loss in Anaheim on July the 3rd.
Yeah, he just beats everybody else. 2005, 12-8, 16-8. The next year, 7-14, his only bad year. And that ball raked. You see, he's not fooling anybody.
Isn't it amazing when you watch a hitter like Brian Roberts, who right now is red hot at the plate, 7-game hitting streak, how not only they recognize every pitch, but they get that good swing on it with the quick bat?
Well, that's part of the work they do with not only Terry Crowley, who is the hitting instructor, but Mickey Hatcher. They have the drills, the front arm drills, and whatever. I mean, I talk about it when Brian first came up. Swing was a little bit lazy, it was a little bit long. Swung at a lot higher pitches and would get under a lot of them. It doesn't happen too often now. Doesn't mean you don't get them out, because that's invariably. I don't care if you come in as Brian is hitting, close to 300. It came in at 289. You're still going to make more outs than you get hits. But it's a quality of bats that we see from all the good hitters, whether it's Figgins, especially from Bryant, and then the ability. The amazing thing is the doubles. 45 of them. Like Figgins gets a lot of base hits. He just doesn't hit. I mean, Brian's a double machine.
And he fouls it off. Well, you look at his season, and he has 56 extra base hits. That's 3 more extra base hits than Nick Markakis, who is more perceived as a power hitter than Brian.
And the ability, again, I think right here, if I had a 2-1 lead, the last thing I want to do is walk Brian Roberts, because he'll steal second base and maybe third.
And he checked his swing. They appeal. He went too far. Roberts is out, and he doesn't know it. He's halfway down to first base. Third base umpire Dan Iasano said he didn't check in time, so that is strike 3.
And you can see again, it's not breaking your wrist, it's how far the bat travels. And once again, that breaking ball that we talked about, Santana, excellent one, throw at 3-2. Maybe not totally unexpected. Why not play the game? Go down there.
Cesar Asturias now, breaking ball taken. Peeled to third this time. Arizona says he checks in time.
Boy, the good slider or the good breaking ball, you just don't see any difference coming out of your hand. Try to pick it up. And there's a fastball, just kind of cruises in there. Not overthrown at 91.
Santana 5 and 6. Jim mentioned his time on the DL earlier this year. It's only his 15th start, but he is part of a pitching staff, a starting staff that has 48 wins. Texas has 50 wins from its starters, which is really amazing when you consider how they have struggled pitching wise over the years. Not so this year. The Texas 50 wins from the starting staff is the most in the American League. The Angels and the Red Sox are tied for second at 48. And that's with Irvin Santana, who's a mainstay, winning only 5 games. And how does that translate into innings pitched? Well, the White Sox starters have pitched the most, then the Blue Jays, then the Red Sox. The Orioles starters have pitched the fewest innings of any starting staff in the league, and as a result, the Orioles bullpen has worked the most.
And Texas right behind the Red Sox.
There's a line drive to left center field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Asturias rounding first, trying for 2. Rivera plays it back in, and Cesar slides in with a double. So Asturias, the tying run in scoring position with 1 down. Here's our Ford trivia question. Who holds the American League record for most doubles in a season by a switch hitter? Well, I got to believe it's Brian Roberts.
Well, I think it's 54 that he has, right? A couple of years ago. 50 last year. I think it is Brian. It's a lot better than what are the 3 guys that hit for the cycle back in 1923? They tried to trick with us.
Were you stumped on one and you can't? Adam Jones fouls it off. Well, I'm trying to think. Milton Bradley, maybe? I think it's Brian.
No, you got to play all the time. Milton gets hurt too much. Brian Roberts, 51.
51.
And that, because I know Brian broke Cal's record for most doubles by an Oriole. Obviously, Cal only hit from the right hand. He could have been left-handed, but he just wanted to.
He wanted to.
Cal could have done anything he wanted to.
Absolutely,
we know that.
You know, when Allie graduated high school in June, they had the ceremony at the new Aberdeen High School because they have a larger gymnasium, so you can get as many of your family members in there as well. as Adam Jones pops it foul out of play. And it was interesting walking in there. It's not the building that Cal went to high school in, but it's his high school. And there's a hallway, and they have the Aberdeen High School Hall of Fame. And there are 2 plaques side by side, Cal Senior and Cal, which I thought was kind of nice walking in, and just jumped off the notice it walking in there, but it was nice to see.
And Santana got away with another hanging slider to Adam Jones. He was just missing both times up pitches that he could have really hit a long way or hard.
There's a ground ball sharply at the short. Going towards third is Astores, and he is out. He ran into an out as Ibar took the out. Not a smart play by Cesar Astores. He was in scoring position. Now Jones is at first with 2 down.
Well, the little things, and you know, you want to get to third, but if the ball's hit to your right, it'll be our left right here. You don't go. Much as you want to get there, and, you know, and again, the execution by the Angels, they have the 3rd least amount of errors in the American League, and they don't make a whole lot of mistakes. They don't beat themselves.
Angels have the 3rd best fielding team in the American League. So 2 down. Here's Markakis. Jones chased back. Irvin Santana has been in 5 major league seasons. Tonight is his 131st game and his 129th start. There's a line drive towards the corner in left field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Adam Jones is heading to third. Juan Samuel will send him. Markakis heading towards second base. Here's the relay throw to the plate. The slide is safe. And Markakis delivers Jones, and we are tied.
So part of the game, pick up one of your teammates when they don't do what they want to do. Tell you what, we told you yesterday, I mean, as many hits to left, center, and right for Nick Markakis over the course of the year. And here comes Jones, no hesitation at all. And right there, Ibar, not a particularly strong throw. There you go. Consecutive games on base. Millar with 52, Kenny Singy, Cal, Melvin, and of course Eric Davis.
Well, that had to be during his 30-game hitting streak, 1998. Well, here's Luke Scott, a chance to give the Orioles the lead. Luke has found that stroke. It disappeared for a while, but it's back.
Well, we were at Brian's Bash last night. One of his friends came up and said, yeah, we're staying with Luke, and we're the reason he's starting to hit. I said, well, that, and he got a couple of fastballs that hit in the middle of the plate, and when he's hot, he doesn't miss them. I told Luke that today. He said, well, it helps to have friends in town, and it also helps to get some pitches you can drive, and that's what he did yesterday.
Down and in with a slider, 2-0.
Yeah, you can see how they're trying to get him out. And the one pitch that's a little surprising, again, the slider's been so good for Santana, is he hadn't thrown a lot of changeups. He's thrown some good ones. But that's usually, you know, you try to stay in if you can with your fastball and out over the plate and up. I mean, Luke hits that ball very hard, and then try to use your breaking ball, and especially the changeup, to slow the bat down. And there's another breaking ball.
See, in the way he's taking those pitches, you can see the confidence is back in his approach.
Well, you know, it's funny. He said we talk about pitching is feel and touch. He said, for me, it's about feel. He said, that's my swing. But I think the other part of it is, are you getting good pitches to hit? Are you seeing the ball well? And when he gets hot, you don't miss too many mistakes. And then right there, he goes, I have no interest on that ball right on the corner. We saw Morales do it with his home run.
And it's interesting the way the Angels, Jim, have played defensively in this series. Gary Matthews shading towards right center, but Luke gets a lot of balls to the left center gap. There's a ton of room out there. Look how far over Matthews is.
Yeah, well, the double and the home run last night were pulled, or yesterday afternoon.
Now there's a walk. That is the first by Irvin Santana, who, like David Hernandez, has a pretty high pitch counter. He's approaching 70 pitches, and we're only in the 3rd inning.
Well, it's just a matter of time, and that's the amazing thing about this game. You get on a roll, you pitch a really good game, even though he's been struggling. Before the 3-hitter against Tampa Bay, who's a pretty good offensive club, he had given up 5, 6, 5, 4 runs in his previous 4 starts. So it's not like he's been lights out.
Matt Wieters, high fly ball to center field, playable for Gary Matthews. He waits for it, has it for the outing ends, but the Orioles do get a run to get back even. 2 hits and 2 left. We'll head to the 4th and a 2-2 game. .2110 Utah Street, presented by First Fidelity Mortgage. So team up with all the fans of Nick and Adam for Oriole Park's new fan club section, Sunday, August 30th or Saturday, September 5th for $21. You get the reserved Utah Street bleacher seat and the exclusive I Live at 2110 Utah Street t-shirt. 888-848-BIRD, online at Orioles.com. Well, Markakis drove in Jones to tie this game. And 2110 has had an impact tonight. Adam also has an RBI, so those two responsible for the 2 Oriole runs. There's Juan Rivera against David Hernandez in the 4th. Hard hit ball, base hit left field.
Yeah, he is swinging the bat as well as I've ever seen him swing it. I mean, he's hit everything in this series. And he's hit it to right. He had a curveball the first time, ripped it into left field. As you mentioned, it wasn't a particularly good one, but that's a well-thrown fastball, and he's all over it. Again, the preparation of hitting. Do you have a plan? As good as David Hernandez's curveball has been, you still want to hit off the fastball, and he was ready for it.
Well, here's Kendry Morales, who is becoming the nemesis for David Hernandez. 2-run home run in Anaheim against him. 2-run home run here tonight.
And what he's been able to do, Jim, is not only hit for power, but he's been able to hit the ball and take advantage of that hole when you hold the runner on. Rivera doesn't run. I mean, he's 0 for 1 in stolen bases. One of the few Angels that does not run well. Even though yesterday, in the late innings, beat out a ball to keep the inning alive.
And it's a little bit low, 2-0, and here's the home run in the 2nd inning after working the count.
Yeah, about 8th pitch, 3-2, just over the outstretched glove of Nick Markakis. Hit very high, and Mick made a valiant effort, just couldn't quite get to it. But right now, 2-0. What do you think he's sitting on? A fastball? Threw him a changeup, good pitch, and he still is able to foul it off. There you go. Look at those numbers. 363. And they brought him in on Saturday night with a 5-1 lead and felt very comfortable putting him at first base because he's become a pretty good defensive first baseman. Made a nice play then, and then also in yesterday's game.
Outside corner for a called strike. Good pitch, 2-2. Well, they traded Casey Kochman in the trade in which they got Teixeira. Kochman now has been sent from Atlanta to Boston because they were confident that if Teixeira did not stay, which as it turns out did occur as he went to New York, they had Morales there, a switch hitter to play full-time at first base. 2-2 is tapped foul right off the plate.
And once again, I mean, Morales and really all the Angel hitters, or most all of them, you throw your good breaking ball, they foul it off, and eventually either you have to continue to be able to do it, and that's hard for anybody, especially if you're only 23 in your first major league year, and then as it turned out, he got a better pitch to hit, and he doesn't miss too many fastballs. He's going to hit the ball pretty hard unless you make a perfect pitch.
2-2 hit hard to short. Should be two. Astores bobbles, steps on the bag, and fires to first to get it. And there's the double play. Second thrown by Hernandez. That erases the leadoff runner and 2 men down.
Yeah, this is like the perfect swing right here. Watch this fastball. It's away. And of course, if you're Cesar Astores, you're up the middle, playing the percentage baseball. Figures that even though he can hit the ball the other way, he's going to maybe pull it a step or two. Ball hit so hard, sharply, just knock it down, catch it, step on the base, get the double play. So a nice pitch. Good result.
2 downers. Eric Ibar, switch hitting shortstop. Shows bunt, takes a strike. The Angels still have Texas keeping the pressure on in the West. They're 5 up in the loss column. Rangers now have a half-game lead in the wild card because of their successful series this weekend against Boston.
What are they, 3-9 against the?
Yeah, they don't play well against Texas.
No,
especially there.
Well, who does?
There are the West standings, and you see it's 5 in the loss column, 4.5, because it's only 4 difference in the win column there. Here's the 0-2 pitch, high, 1-2.
Yeah, the Angels go to Cleveland, then Toronto, and then they go back to play Detroit and Oakland at home.
It's kind of amazing that the Angels, they're in first place in the West, and yet within their division, they have not played well. They're 15-19 against West opponents, but they've dominated everybody else.
Well, and I think that, and we've talked about it, I think that's because for this year, because of the injuries, especially the bullpen and early on with their starters, is that the other teams, especially Oakland, not a great offensive team, even though they've been playing well. Seattle with very good pitching, and even Texas again with very good pitching. They pitch as well. So when you go down there, unless you're on a roll like they are now, it's tough to win games.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's lined to left center field. That's a base hit. PA trying to cut it off. Can't do it. That's going to get all the way to the wall. Ibar thinking 3. He makes the turn. They have a play. Here's the throw. He is out at third base. Dan Iasana wanted to make sure Mora held on to the ball, and Ibar makes the final out at third. Relay comes from PA to Astores to Melvin Mora. That ends the inning. So base 2 hits in the inning, none left. The final out. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Well, there's your tag. Nice play by Melvin Moore. Good relay throw. I will assume he tagged him.
Yeah, the shirt move.
Yeah. Anyway, you want to freeze it or whatever. If I'm Eric Ibar, I want to take my glove, go right back to shortstop, because 2 outs, I mean, there's your cardinal rule violated.
Mr. Socia might have something to say about that.
Yeah, he was kind of on the railing, gazing out there. We've seen Cesar Astores get thrown out with the ball in front of him. Bad base running.
Look at that.
Yes, well, I mean, you're already in scoring position. You can not literally fly, but you got great speed. You don't need to be a third. It's kind of like, it's like a lead-off double that you try to stretch into a triple, or the 2 out. Same situation. You better make it. He didn't.
1-1 on Mora. Melvin takes low ball to Whittington, and PA will follow.
That will draw the ire of your manager.
And it should.
Yes. Bad baseball.
Mora struck out his first at bat. This one's lined to center field. Matthews is right there as for the out, 1 down. We talk quite a bit about fundamentals and the teaching of fundamentals. These are major league players. I mean, you should control those types of things because you know how to play baseball. You shouldn't have to be told. I'm not talking about, I really appreciate the hustle. There's no doubt about it. But you should understand the game situation.
Well, yes, you should. You have to be able to think ahead.
Wigginton fouls it off.
And when you hit that ball, there's 2 outs. You're at second. You can't risk it, throw it out at third. If you do, you've made a bad mistake. It's an easier play than Asturias made when he went to third because that slight hesitation.
Right.
It's still a bad base running play. You're already at scoring position. So it turned out Markakis got the run in anyway with the double. But it's just not something you want to do.
And what Ibar did was, as he was between first and second, he made up his mind. He never stopped. And it was a perfect relay to Asturias the Moore to get him.
Well, unless you have a triples clause, they're going to pay you a significant bonus.
Is there such a thing?
No, but Davey Johnson Davey Johnson went on to manage the Orioles in 96 and 97. Actually had a doubles clause.
Really?
Yeah, he hits so many doubles.
Wigginton chased the pitch outside as Santana got him to swing. He's down on strikes 2 down. That's strikeout number 5. Well, attention youth sports teams, coaches, and players. You can call the Orioles and get your team ready for Youth Sports Day. It comes up Sunday, September 20th here at Oriole Park with the Red Sox in town. Bring your football, lacrosse, field hockey, basketball, baseball, or any sports team. And you can take part in a pregame parade right here around the Oriole Park field and enjoy great group pricing on the tickets. 888-848-BIRD or Orioles.com. Here's PA, fouls it off.
Now, of course, the problem with the doubles clause for Davey Johnson, he'd lead off to the bottom of the 9th at home with a double that he could have maybe stretched into a triple and stop at second. Now, where would you want a leadoff guy in a tie ball game? You want him at third. And we would tell him, triples count, Davey. Come on, you can get a third. So, again, a lot of times, and of course, that's why they have taken away a lot of the incentives. At least the numerical incentives. You make the All-Star team, you can get a bonus. And
that sounds like something an agent might make up. Give me a doubles clause or
anything to try to get extra money.
1-2 the count on PA. 2 outs and none on. The Orioles in this game have scored in the first and the third, and in each of those innings they've sent 6 men to bat. In the second, they went 3 up, 3 down. In the fourth, they're not away from going 3 up, 3 down with the lower third of the order.
Yeah, a couple of opportunities. Wieters popped up with a couple of guys in scoring position in the first, and then again in the third with a man on.
Here's the 2-2 to PA. It's low ball 3.
So we're back to the slider count, and that's the one thing. He's in any count for a young pitcher at 26. He'll use all his pitches. You can't really sit on anything. And we've seen him get in like Melvin Moore. He got in on his fist after establishing a breaking ball the first time. So he's used all his pitches pretty well tonight.
3-2 is sent right back to the mound. A glove by Santana. Nicely done. He flips to first and out at first base as Morales dropped the ball. That must have been a 2-seamer or a changeup. It floated over. Morales dropped it, but because it fell right to his feet, the Angels get a break. So the Orioles do go 3 up, 3 down. We'll head to the 5th in a 2-2 game. your next trip at Southwest.com. And by Honda, the 2009 Honda Clearance. It's the only thing from Honda that won't last. Beautiful night here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards as you look on the outside of the stadium, now back inside towards the warehouse on this getaway day for both teams. There's Gary Matthews leading off. The Orioles will head to St. Petersburg, Florida, flying to Tampa tonight, while the Indians will await the Angels in Cleveland. Matthews is inside.
Yeah, the Rays still very much in the wild card chase. And they trail Texas by 4 and the Red Sox by 3 in the loss column.
2-0 swung on and missed.
The one thing you can never read the emotions of David Hernandez on his sleeve. I mean, he's very placid look out there, and throws the 2-run home run to Morales, comes right back and throws strikes. There's another one. Kind of a zoom ball. The ball comes out of his hand. I think that's what you like the most, is that when his mechanics are good, the ball just kind of jumps.
Well, 2-2 on Matthews. Mathis and Figgins will follow. Foul back to protect.
And you're going to see, and there's a little extra at 95, you're going to see him turn the ball over as he gets more innings, and curveballs he'll have more command with his changeup. They all are. And that's what pitching's all about, getting your innings and gaining from experience. Great changeup right there.
Popped up shallow left, Asturias and Mora. Here comes PA, and the left fielder has it for the out. And one down. Well, we invite you to join us again tomorrow night. Morals action. Birds on the road. Opening game in Tampa. Jason Birkin on the mound against David Price. Coverage on MASN HG begins at 6:30 with those extra presented by AT&T. And game coverage at 7 o'clock. We've got all the access you need right here on MASN. And there's the road trip coming up. It's a tough one. 3 in Tampa, 3 in Chicago, 3 in Minnesota. All those teams have playoff aspirations. And the first series and the last series on turf.
Yeah, I was looking at the offenses the Orioles are going to have to deal. The Yankees, they'll end up later on with them, and the Red Sox 2 and 4. Tampa Bay's the 3rd best offensive team. Minnesota's 6th. Cleveland eventually down the road 5th. The White Sox, of course, they have the 2nd best pitching, but they're 9th in offense, but probably a little bit better at home because the ball flies in Chicago. Told me that's it. I think the key when looking back at the last series, how are you going to pitch to Jim Thome? Boy, what a series he had against the Orioles.
Well, there's one hitter in each lineup, although Longoria is fast changing that. Usually with the Orioles, it's don't pitch to Pena. Yeah. As Rick Dempsey likes to say all the time. Swinging a high pop-up shallow center. Asturias out. PAN. Jones in. Jones calls. And he has it. You go to Chicago, definitely it's Thome. And then you go to Minnesota. Could be Mauer, could be Morneau.
Yep.
Maybe even Alex Rios in Chicago if he's in there.
Yeah, he seems to.
He swung well against the Orioles.
Good at bats, yep.
So Hernandez looking for his second 3 up, 3 down inning.
And right here, Sean Pickens. Of course.
Is he up every inning?
Like I said, it seemed. I saw Dave Tremblay again at Brian Roberts' bash down at the ESPN zone, and I said, how many stolen bases they had yesterday? He said only 4. Not only 4, but 4. I said I lost count. Kind of like Mike Socia when PA he thought he was really grandstanding. He didn't know that he hit for the cycle. There had been 19 hits and 16 runs. PA didn't even know he hit for the cycle on Friday.
Well, that's a player concentrating on the game.
Yeah,
right?
well, exactly.
Not worrying about yourself. Hey, by the way, you did something special. 2-2.
I told Ron Renicky today, the bench coach, I said, he didn't know until Juan Samoy slid into 3rd. He said, you just hit for the cycle. That's when he put his hands up. He said, no. I said, yeah, unaware of it. Of course, the Orioles bench was going crazy.
Yeah, rightly so, because it's such a rare feat. And PA, who lost his starting job, but instead of just sitting around pouting, has worked harder.
Well, he's become a much better hitter.
There's a 3-2. It's slapped towards left field. Long run for PA. Still coming on. Won't get there. Bounces foul.
You know, it's an interesting thing about hitting. I had kind of looking around the internet today, and, you know, Dustin Pedroia, who was the MVP last year, he had a home run in his first at bat this year. Then he won 190 at bats till he hit home run number 2. Then he won 125 at bats till he hit home run number 3.
Center field playable for Jones.
And now 5 home runs in the last 14 games. You figure it out.
3 up, 3 down inning for David Hernandez, mid-5th. Orioles getting set to bat in a 2-2 game. Both were successful, and I want to
great to see.
Thank you for donating your services again. I understand you've offered another pitching lesson for bid, and somebody bid on it and paid to hang out with you and learn some pitching, so congratulations.
Doing one tomorrow here at the stadium from last year. Little Ray bought it.
Okay.
So we're going to do that at about 11 o'clock. No, I hear there may be some rain in the forecast, but we'll figure out a place.
You got a tunnel.
Yeah, all kinds of places here.
That was very nice of you.
Well, it's great. You know, when I first got here, and of course it was not the Ravens town, it was the Colts town. And, you know, so many of those guys lived in the community and whatever. And the Orioles used to always say, you're going to live here, become part of it. And boy, has Nick and Brian Roberts done that.
You know, we ought to do next year. You and I ought to run in Nick's event.
No, we shouldn't.
Well, how about the walk? We can walk a mile.
I could walk a mile, yes.
I mean, we should do that. We could be like a tag team.
Well, then let's try not to go 13 innings either.
It was a long day, I'll bet.
Well, it was a long day, and I think the interesting thing, and you know, when I was over at Brian's affair last night, talking to Dave Tremblay, and he was proud of the way the club they came back from 4-0. They came back from, you know, with 6-2, then Scott hit a home run, and then it was 6-6. So they came back a number of times. That ball hit sharply.
Estura stays with it and gets Roberts one down.
Yeah, the luxury, if you can somehow keep the ball somewhere in the neighborhood, you can throw somebody out at second base, even third. And that's what Brooks Robinson did so well. He knocked the ball down, but his momentum and the ball would almost seem to go towards first base, and that's what Mr. Estura does right there, even though if that ball's hit right or left, it's a base hit.
Here's Cesar Estura, his brother, and he takes low. You know, now former Oriole Aubrey Huff was at Brian's event last night. I talked to him about that play at first base on the double play when Wieters threw the ball. They had
the 3-2 to 3, the 3 double play.
And he said the ball actually hit the runner's helmet on the way by, and it actually was changing directions as it got to his glove.
Well, it's one of those plays. He was reaching for it, and of course he may not have been traded if there was any kind of collision or carom. Could have easily gotten hurt on that.
Torres who was running down towards it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Santana stuff's a lot better here in the 5th than it was early on. I mean, he's just making better pitches. But again, he's got 3 good ones. And we've seen on occasion close to the mid-90s in 94.
Takes outside, so he's worked the count full at 3-2.
But the pitch count's going to get him. It's up there.
And there's a line drive to center. That's going to fall base hit. Matthews plays it on a big hop. So how about Cesar Torres? He's put it to the number 2 spot tonight, and he is 3 out of 3.
Yeah, and again, he's so much a better natural right-handed hitter. Came in hitting 354, hitting right-handed, but he was only 221. But some really good at bats. And was able to stay on that fastball away. I mean, Santana trying to run the ball away and let the movement maybe get the ball in the end of the bat, but not when you cover the outside corner. He did a terrific job there.
There's the view from center field from the picnic area.
So, well, we steal a base here. 10 out of 11 for Mr. Torres.
Adam Jones fouls it back.
You'd almost think the way Adam Jones is swinging the bat, he's a little tired. And in talking to him, he said, you know, again, this is going to be my first full year. Last year, he fouled the ball off his foot and missed considerable time late in the year and then came back in September. So he said he's been trying to cut back things, but I think the difficult thing is kind of like when you struggle when you're pitching. You still got to throw on the side. You still got to get your work in. So there's a fine line. If you're hitting well, you don't have to do as much. But when you're not getting the results, maybe you need to back off a little bit.
Ooh, huge foul. That almost stayed fair.
Yeah, but that's kind of against human nature. You usually want to try harder, work harder. He works hard enough as it is. Plus, there's the 20 factor. The fact that he needs one more home run for 20. Well, you know what? It's really, when you think the kind of year he's had, and you were talking about it yesterday, he's had six home runs since the All-Star break. You know he's going to hit 20. Actually, 7 home runs. Better than I thought. Thank you for the hand signal.
I'm just trying to help you out.
I understand. Well, 6, 7, whatever. Quickly got to 19. Now wants to get to 20.
Yesterday, he almost hit it out in the 9th inning and went as a sac fly. And last night at the event, I said to him, you know, I thought you had that one. He said, nope. As soon as it left the bat, I knew it was staying in the ballpark. Which is also remarkable that hitters know that.
Well, he was trying to get a ball in the air. That would tie the game up. And the bonus, of course, would have been a 2-run home run to win it off of Brian Fuentes. He was looking for his 34th save. Instead, the Orioles prolonged it for a number of innings.
Jones, since the break, has those 7 home runs and 21 RBIs. 1-2 is cued foul again. He's not squaring up on it, but he's fouling it off to stay alive.
And it's a classic case of respect. It's kind of like a bullseye right there. Over 10 in Orioles. Because all of a sudden you get a young hitter, and he's still young. I think that's the one thing, because he's so talented and do so many things, we forget that it's only his 2nd full major league year.
1-2 with the Torres at first and 1 down in this 2-2 game. And a good eye, and he takes outside. 2-2. After the hit parade yesterday, the Angels had 23 hits. The Orioles had 14. We've had a total of 10 hits in this game. Orioles have 6. The Angels have 4. In fact, the Orioles have 6 because Torres has half of those. 2-2. Good eye, ball 3.
Real good eye. And 3 of the hits for the Orioles in the 1st inning. Roberts, Torres, and then the double by Luke Scott.
The odd number innings tonight have been good for the Orioles. They scored in the 1st, sent 6 men up on 3 hits. Scored in the 3rd, sent 6 men up on 2 hits and a walk. And now the base hit here in the 5th. In the 2nd and the 4th, they went 3 up and 3 down.
Well, Adam Jones missed 2 sliders his first 2 times up. And if you read the bat, there's another one. And see, that is so hittable. But again, it must be deceptive enough. Because the slider that doesn't really break, you get under it, it kind of spins and it stays. It doesn't have what they call tilt.
Well, here's one of your former teammates, Ken Singleton. Here's a comparison. First 2 seasons as Orioles. Singleton showed up with a little bit more major league experience, but Adam Jones right there with him.
Yeah, you know, different types of players. I mean, Singy had of course, he was a marvelous player. He finished, I think, in 77, 3rd in the MVP, and then a couple of years later, 7th. Switch hitter. Adam, a better defensive player. Singy he would not swing at a ball. He just wouldn't allow it. You know, great clutch hitter. great teammate. I mean, that's what you liked about Kenny Singleton. That's what you like about Adam Jones. They're just generally nice people. I mean, good, not only good players, but just good people.
Historis runs, fouled off at the plate.
You know, yesterday I had a chance to meet Nick Adenhart's dad. I was introduced, Mike Socia introduced me to him, and next Sunday will be his 23rd, or would have been his 23rd birthday. And there's an article in the Los Angeles papers today that, and what Jim Adenhart was saying, and his number and uniform and whatever, Mike Socia said that's one of the reasons we had such a slow start. It was very difficult getting over his tragic death. And the interesting thing about playing this game is that you're so lucky where you have the relationships with players along the line. You know, whether it's the Singletons or the Adenharts or the Adam Joneses or whatever. And when you lose friends, whether it's young or old, boy, it's devastating.
This ball hit towards the middle. How about that? The Orioles, by sending the runner, play right into the Angels. As Torres was covering, he steps on the bag and throws it to first. Tough break for the Orioles. That ball was hit solidly up the middle. So the 4-4-3 double play ends it. We played 5 at Oriole Park and tied it.
The Orioles would score first. Check swing after Robertson Historis with base hits. 1-0. Single by Rivera. 26th home run by Morales makes it 2-1. The Orioles would come back. And Nick Markakis would hit his 39 double down into the corner to tie it up 2-2, and that's where we are. And with Hernandez, I don't know if you're ever cruising along in a 2-2 game against the Angels the way they've been swinging the bat, but he's pitched very well.
Check swing, and there's a strike to Meister Historis, who is down to the count 0-2.
Are you checking out how good that changeup is? I mean, he's finishing his pitches. That's right there. Just kind of, once again, the ability to, at the last moment, stay behind his pitches. And it's easy. Whatever he throws, it's not like it doesn't look like there's a lot of effort. So you have to imagine there's some deception.
Down and away. Hernandez has just 1 strikeout. That was Abreu in the first. He's walked 3. And none of the walks have factored in the scoring. Again, fouled it off.
Yeah, what they factor in is the pitch count, which is closing in, I think, right around 100. So they'll watch him closely. Which the Angels will be happy to see him depart.
High fly ball right center field. Got a lot of it. Back it goes, and that ball is gone. It's into the bleachers. Meister Historis on a 1-2 pitch hits his 7th, and the Angels have the lead back at 3-2.
And the amazing thing, he's not a big guy. In fact, he's a little guy, but of his 7 home runs, 6 are left-handed. Now his brother, or half-brother, Cesar, is a natural right-handed hitter. Watch him turn on this pitch. And again, you know, it's no big mystery. It's belled high in the middle of the plate. And all during this series, he has been able to drive the ball, not for home runs, but for doubles. There's another example of it.
So all 3 runs coming in on home runs.
See, that was pitch to number 100. And it sailed out of here.
Ball 1 to Bobby Abreu. 11 home runs now allowed by David Hernandez on the year. 6 by left-handed batters, 5 by right-handed batters.
See, and now you get in where 102 pitches where Abreu is going to look inside half and try to turn on the pitch if you throw a strike, and he doesn't. So there's 3 pitches out of the zone, and that's your concern. Young pitcher against third time through the order, hot night. Anytime you're in a 2-2 ball game, now a 3-2 game, those are 103 tough pitches.
There's a strike.
See right there, 3-0. More velocity he had earlier in the inning. That gives you an idea. And something you have to learn as a pitcher, that you don't have to try to throw hard. Just get your arm out in front.
There's a base hit into right field, sharply hit. So a home run, now a single.
So he's lost his location in the Angels, and we have seen now in game number 4 of this series what they do to pitchers that all of a sudden lose their command. It's not pretty.
Well, his splits first time and second time through the lineup are very close. 267 batting average first time, 265 second time, but then it jumps to 313 the third time.
Well, and the reason is to pitch complete games, to pitch late in the end of the ball game, and there's no reason why David Hernandez should know this at his age because he's so young at 23. You have to really be able to pitch in and out, up and down, get a guy out 2 or 3 different ways. And when you pitch, as we look at Meredith, it's going to get up, play Meredith, the side armor, submariner. To get a guy out 3 or 4 times, you really have to be able to pitch, but you have to be out there enough to get the experience, and that's the downfall for most young pitchers.
Abreu is a stolen base threat at first base. Here's Vlad Guerrero. High fly ball, left center field. Back goes Jones. Warning track at the wall. Reaches up and he can't get it. It's into the Oriole bullpen for a 2-run homer. So Guerrero going after the first pitch. There's his 9th. 2 home runs in the inning. And it's 5-2 Los Angeles.
And there's an explanation for all of them. They were all in the middle of the plate. They were all fastballs. So again, it's just a young pitcher. He's lost his command. I mean, right here, it's launch time. I told you about Guerrero. He swings about as hard as anybody can at age 34, and then hits the big fly. Great effort by Adam Jones. Had plenty of time to get to the wall. Ball just carried out of here. So 2-2 gets to 5-2 in a hurry.
401st career home run, his 9th on the year. This is only his 58th game because of time on the disabled list. High pop up, shallow right. Here comes Markakis. He'll call off Roberts. And there's the first out here in the 6th inning. Saturday, August 29th, Orioles fans are encouraged to be in their seats by 6:30. Special pregame ceremonies as longtime designated hitter Harold Baines will be inducted into the Orioles Hall of Fame. Tickets for the game start as low as $9. A very special night. So for your tickets, 888-848-BIRD or get online at Orioles.com. We'll see Harold this weekend. He is still coaching first base for the White Sox.
That he is.
There's Kendry Morales, who has a 2-run home run tonight. So 3 home runs have driven in all 5 runs, and the Orioles trail at 5-2.
Well, maybe it's a good omen. The Orioles hit 3 home runs yesterday. They didn't win. You never know. It's going to take some offense, though. That and trying to keep the Angels at bay, which is not easy.
That's low ball 3. Well, Meister Torres was down in the count 1-2. Abreu got ahead in the count. And Guerrero didn't wait around. He swung at the first pitch.
Well, like you said, I was talking about the fact he never struck out 100 times. You said he doesn't wait around to get the 2 strikes.
3-1 on Kendry Morales, and that's outside ball 4. And there's the 4th walk allowed by David Hernandez. And here's Dave Tremblay, and that'll be it for David Hernandez, who will go 5 1/3 and leaves on the short end of a 5-2 score. So the continuing learning process at this level. Pitch count got him. He's up to 113. And he will leave 35 pitch second inning. Clay Meredith coming on with the Angels in front. As his 12th appearance as an Oriole, still no one-loss record, and his ERA a bit inflated now at 5.11.
Yeah, good in his first 8 innings, a couple of runs, then got roughed up against Oakland, came in the other day, pitched very well, hitting in a third of scoreless, a couple of inherited runners on the bases, didn't score for the Angels. Sinker baller, big slider, occasional changeup.
Morales at first, he walked. That was the final batter for David Hernandez, and there's Eric Ibar taking a strike. Well, this is certainly a difference in approach from David Hernandez to Clay Meredith.
Yeah, mid-80s to mid-90s. It's about movement, deception of the release point. There's the ball, and of course he's at his best when it sinks.
1 down. Hernandez 5 1/3, 5 earned runs on 7 hits. 3 of those hits home runs, driving in all 5 Los Angeles runs.
Rookie year, 28 consecutive scoreless appearances from July 18th to September 12th for Clay Meredith. Meredith over 33 2/3 innings. Very durable.
Fouled off. Well, he's the only pitcher in the Orioles bullpen who did not get in the game yesterday. Hendrickson, I'm sure, is available tonight. He only faced 1 batter. And Meredith is the first called on tonight. And Dave Tremblay said before the game, and there's a swing and a foul straight down at the plate, that if there was a save situation, Jim Johnson would not get the baseball. It would be Danny Baez, because Johnson has worked the last 2 games, including 2 innings yesterday.
Yeah. And Baez certainly, you had touched on it, did have 41 saves with Tampa Bay. I know he hasn't assumed that role this year.
Close pitch taken for a ball.
Well, the one thing that the Angels have done so well, or among the things that they've done, I guess, is that they have used the hole, the ability to hit the ball by the first baseman in this series. And you can see right there, Ibar, I mean, just so quick to the pitches, and they're covering the plate. You know, very rarely you can get them out, but mostly it's going to be when you get into this kind of count, 1 and 2 or 0 and 2. Not that we've seen that many of those type of counts, the pitchers count.
Another 1-2 pitch. He got him. So Ibar can't catch up to that one. He's down on strikes. 2 men out.
Nice pitch just off the outside corner. Right about at his peak velocity, 86. But it's not really about velocity for him. It's about movement.
Pretty amazing watching that on the pitch tracks. He releases it submarine style, then the ball went up and it went down.
Well, it's a pronation of the wrist and the way you release it.
Gary Matthews now takes low.
And again, that hitter is looking for the window of where the ball is released. There was a great article probably about 8 or 9 years ago with Stan Musial and Tony Gwynn about what they looked at when they were hitting. And neither of them, and it's kind of unusual for Gwynn, who won 8 batting titles, and Stan Musial with 3,630 hits in the Hall of Fame, one of the great left-handed hitters of all time, is that they said they didn't see the spin out of the hand. They were looking for velocity out of your hand. That's the way they distinguished what the pitch was. So I saw Ted Williams up at Cooperstown a couple of weeks later after I'd read the article, and I said, he's coming down the hallway, and you can hear him coming. And I said, have you ever had a chance to meet Ted Williams? And I said, don't tell me you didn't see the curveball. And he goes, every once in a while I could see that spin.
Sharply it to Roberts. Brian Hazard will play it to first. Matthews retired for the final out. Good job by Meredith, but a couple of home runs has given Los Angeles the lead mid-6th. 5-2 Angels.
First-round draft picks remain unsigned, including Steven Strasburg of the Nats. He was the first pick in the draft, and he, of course, is represented by Scott Boras. 6 of those 12 unsigned picks are represented by Scott Boras. Also, the Braves placed Nate McClough on the disabled list with a left hamstring problem, and Mets third baseman David Wright, he's undergoing some more testing, says that he is feeling a little better after being beamed in the head with that fastball. He is expected to play again sometime this season, but when he'll return, nobody knows. Jim?
All right, Amber, thank you very much. Markakis takes a strike. Scott and Wieters will follow. That was a little scary. I saw the replay of that, the Matt Cain fastball to the helmet of David Wright that Amber was talking about.
Well, yeah, they had Ryan Church had all kinds of concussion problems that bothered them all last year, so the Mets are going to be very careful. Right there. I guess arguably most consistent player. In fact, the healthiest until he was mean. I kind of like the midnight deadline. The Orioles, their second draft choice, Michael Gibbons, out of play in high school. And I saw Joe Jordan, and then, of course, Strasburg, the big story, I guess. Matt Wieters waited till, 11:50 before he signed?
There goes one. Markakis gets into it, and he hits it out. Home runs in back-to-back games, and it's a 2-run game. Number 15 for Nick.
Well, again, this slider, and the bullpen got up. Like Darren Oliver before he went out there because of the pitch count, 107 pitches. So the ball flying here, especially when you have good hitters hitting them. And watch this breaking ball get massaged. Goodbye, right here. Ends up in the middle of the plate. Not a good idea. Unless you're Nick Markakis, you loved it.
Well, Nick has hit in 10 straight games, and he now has the club lead in multi-hit games. That's his 41st, one more than Adam Jones. Rich Scott, first ball swinging, pops it up. Here comes Kendry Morales in the coach's box. And he has it for the out, one down.
Yeah, another high pitch of some sort. Might have been a hanging changeup.
There's Darren Oliver getting loose.
He came in briefly and effectively yesterday. Of course, he's having a terrific year at age 38 for him.
They faced two batters in the seventh inning, Markakis and Huff, and retired them both. Aubrey Huff now a former Oriole.
Anybody's ball game right here, Jimbo. You know that. Orioles are going to have to get out the late inning weaponry.
Aubrey Huff traded this afternoon to the Tigers. The Tigers in first place in the Central, looking for some help with the bat.
Well, the thing about Aubrey, he actually, for a guy that played, I mean, the numbers offensively were down. And again, he's his usual year with a couple of 2003, I think, was 34 home runs. The next year was 29. And then the normal year for him is somewhere around 20, 21, 22 home runs. And he was pretty much on that pace this year. But last year was a terrific year for him. But again, this year, having to play the field, and I think it took its toll. At least it appeared that. But he didn't miss a whole lot of pitches last year.
That's a good point, because last year the majority of his at-bats came as a DH. There's the 2-2. It's inside ball three. And well, I'm sure he'll be revived now. Probably DH some for Jim Leland. Play a little bit of first base. And he's in a contract year. He'll be a free agent. And he goes into a race.
Yeah, and most likely that it's not a sure thing, but the Tigers trying to get to the postseason.
Wieters bounces it back at first. 2 down in the inning. Before the game today, Aubrey Huff, after learning of the trade, met with the media.
It's definitely emotional. I'm seeing all these young guys come up, and I've had a great time with all the young guys, and to be able to see them finish out the year and grow, it's a little hard, but at the same time for me, it's really exciting to be able to go to a team that's in contention, and for me, my whole career I've been in last place, so this is going to be a very exciting time for me.
Tigers began the day with a 2.5 game lead and 3 up in the loss column on the White Sox. Minnesota's still in it. Even though they have fallen 5 below, they're only 6 out in the Central. There's your difference between the East and the Central. Figgins plays that hot smash, and he gets more, and the inning ends. But the Orioles get one back as Nick Markakis hits his 15th home run. He has a 2 RBI game, and the Birds are back within 2. Without the express written consent of the Orioles. So Irvin Santana to the bench. High pitch count. He gets through 6 innings. High fives on the bench. He is the pitcher of record on the plus side at the moment.
It's one of those quality starts. What? 6 innings, 3 runs.
Yeah.
Even more quality if the bullpen, which appears it's going to come in for the Angels, holds the lead. Now for the Orioles, Clay Meredith. Another shutdown inning.
Retire the 2 batters he faced. Gets ahead of Jeff Mathis 0-2. You know who's on deck, and then Meiser is tourist for the Angels here in the 7th inning.
And what's his name? Figgins.
Who seems to bat every inning.
Well, yeah,
look at that breaking ball. He's down on strikes 1 away.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we told you about that record, 124 and 71 when Mathis catches. That's what he's about. You know, the hitting's a bonus. And that's what Mickey Tettleton talked about. Matt Wieters, at the end of the day, you still want pitching and defense to get the best out of your pitcher.
Well, you can keep up with the latest Orioles news, your favorite social networking sites, Twitter and Facebook, twitter.com/Birdland Insider. And you can also check it out at Facebook. You get all the information from the team's communication department, all the Birdland news you need. Just get online. You're there anyway. Facebook.com, Twitter.com. One of these days I'm going to learn how to do that.
What?
Twitter.
Good luck. I don't think it's hard. I mean, it's about brevity, isn't it? No more than 100.
Oh, well, then I'm in trouble.
No, I think it's something like 100.
If you got to be brief, I'm in trouble.
Well, I think it is. I mean, I don't know if I just read something where it's 125 characters or less. I don't know if that's letters.
So you like talk to people on it, or tell people what you're doing?
I don't know.
2-1 the count. Well, but the Oriole fans can enjoy it because they can find out all about the Birds. Meantime, 3-1 on Figgins, who amazingly enough doesn't have a hit, but he has walked once.
Well, he's tired. 4th game of a 4-game series. Been on base, running around. Good sinker right there. The illusion that the ball's going to be a strike. That's what sinker ballers are all about. You got to throw it high enough where they'll swing. Of course, everybody on the bench is going to make them bring it up, and just when they bring it up, they usually don't pitch well. And that ball just off the outside corner.
Sean Figgins in the final year of his contract. The way he's playing, he'll attract a lot of attention on the free agent market.
Well, he's a multi-talented player. Switch hitter, good defensive third baseman, can steal bases, plays on winners, comes to the park prepared, understands how to play the game. Otherwise, he wouldn't be playing for the Angels.
High energy guy, too, and he's a good teammate.
Comes from Florida. Sefner, Florida. I do not know where that is. If it was New Jersey, we would know where it is.
Absolutely. I got the glossary for you.
GPS in that little head of yours. You would know.
Here's Meiser Asturis. It's high.
Yeah, ever since I was eating those, whatever those blueberries were from Hamilton, New Jersey.
Are you smarter?
No, obviously.
This Chris Ray.
Every time I go get the blueberries, they're from Michigan.
You got to get the New Jersey.
No, I don't have a choice. Not where I shop. A little disappointed. You know, they rub the baseballs up with the mud.
Absolutely. New Jersey mud.
Yep. Bruce Springsteen.
Yep.
Who else? Yogi Berra lives in
Frank Sinatra was from there.
Hoboken, yeah, just across the river.
Yogi's from St. Louis, though, but he lives there.
And so is Earl Weaver. Let's not hold it against him. You know, the other day, we didn't bring up the highlight. I think Friday was in this day in baseball. Earl Weaver got thrown out in a doubleheader. Luciano tossed him the first game. He never even got to manage the second game. As he was giving up the lineup card, got tossed out of the second game. Vintage Earl.
Figgins was running on the foul ball. He's back to first.
There are a lot of options for Mike Scioscia. Got a guy that can handle bad. You have speed at first.
Figgins is 3rd in the league. He has 37 steals. He also leads the league in getting caught. He's running again, and it chopped to first. Scott will play it to the bag. Down to second goes Figgins, now with 2 out. So Clay Meredith, after the 1-out walk, now has 2 down, and he'll go to work on Bobby Abreu.
Well, you get the idea, and now you got to be real careful, because if you pitch or don't pitch to Abreu, then you got Guerrero behind him. I mean, they're going to walk Abreu. But this is some respect to get to Guerrero because you like the matchup. Even though Abreu singled his last time up, and Guerrero hit his 401st home run into the bullpen, the Oriole bullpen out in left center. Percentage. Of course, Meredith, how does he get lefties? He actually gets lefties out better than righties this year. Lefties came in hitting .217. Righties, not a lot of at bats. We're 8 for 24.
Well, he's faced 5 lefties so far here, and he's got him 0 for 3 with 2 walks. This will be only the second right-handed batter. He struck out Mathis and now Guerrero. Vladdy, a 2-run home run in the 6th inning. His 9th on the year. Lead runner is Figgins. Abreu at first. Good speed, good base runners on for Los Angeles. Inside, ball 1. Sharply at foul past Dino Ebel, the third base coach.
Yeah, their press guy talks about the fact, I mean, he comes from, as you mentioned, the Dominican Republic, but he's got I guess his hometown, 12,000 in the Dominican Republic. They have a cement block factory, propane distributorship, supermarket, livestock, and vegetable farms. Making a difference in that country, wouldn't you think? Seafood distributor, woman's clothing store. The Guerrero brothers.
And that one's going back. It goes. It is gone. Second home run, both in the Orioles bullpen. This one a 3-run shot. And just like that, it's 8-3.
Well, the amazing thing about the Angels in their first 59 games hit 44 home runs. That is the 90th home run in the last 57. And it is a missile. So it's a matter of percentages. It backfires because, watch this, inside middle, it's actually off the plate. Can you imagine the scout that signed this kid when he found him? Can throw, can run, can hit for power, Hall of Fame numbers. Boy, has he shown that tonight.
Well, that'll do it for Clay Meredith, who comes on and got out of the 6th, but allows a 3-run home run here in the 7th. Chris Ray's coming on. The Angels now lead it 8-3. Here's Chris Ray.
Yeah, Chris, shoulder getting healthy, velocity going up, pitching better. And they're going to need him over the last 6 weeks of the season. So 4 home runs for the Angels.
Here's Juan Rivera. He'll bat with 2 down and the bases empty. And every run has been driven in on a home run for the Angels. Sharply at the short. Cesar Torres is there, and on one pitch, Chris Ray ends the 7th inning. But a 3-run home run by Vlad Guerrero. Tonight's 7th inning stretch brought to you by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey. Please drink responsibly.
They're a tough team to beat.
Yeah, and then they had a young pitcher, Santana, maybe not at the top of his game, but more experienced than the Orioles starter. The interesting thing to me, if you look at their numbers, Jim, they're almost averaging 6 runs a game. If they continue this will be the most runs they've scored in any year, at least from an average, better than 1995. So, again, we have one of the better hitting clubs, as you mentioned, number 1 now. I don't know if that's the Oriole pitching or a combination of the fact, even when you make some good pitches, they've gotten hits. They are just playing great baseball, and you really got to hand it to them. And I mean, it's tough to watch. But I tell you what, if you like good baseball and you like good hitting, I'll tell you what, the Angels are as good as anybody in the American League right now.
And for the most part, it's a veteran hitting lineup that the Angels have. And when you have young pitching trying to navigate their way through the big leagues, it is a tough adjustment to make to these hitters.
Yeah, and I think that as the Orioles move forward, you're going to get David Hernandez, and you're going to get Tillman and Mattis and Burke and all the young pitchers with more experience. So they're going to move closer to where Santana maybe didn't have his best stuff tonight, but still had a quality start. But I think what we're going to see as we look at Darren Oliver, we are going to see the Orioles need to go out and get a veteran, whether it's an Abreu or whatever, to try to get the guys to have quality at bats, and that's certainly been the case for the Angels in this series.
So Darren Oliver comes on. Wigginton, the first batter he'll see, and he spins a curveball in there for a strike. Wigginton, PA, and then Brian Roberts are due. Nolan Reimold has come out on deck. He'll bat for PA. So Santana goes 6 innings and leads with a 5-run lead, and now Oliver will try to protect it.
Yeah, not overpowering. If he was with us yesterday, he just seems to be able to keep the ball out in the middle of the plate, change speeds. At 38, done a nice job. I mean, a veteran lefty that, he started in the course of his career. I mean, I faced his dad. His dad was a power hitter. He's down in Texas now. He said he doesn't come east too often. I said, that's good. I never liked him because he hit too many home runs off me. But a veteran that has you got to imagine his presence in that bullpen that struggled early on has been tremendous for them.
Wigginton to left. Rivera was deep, but he gets in on it and has it for the out.
And that's a ball that's up, but it's in. I saw Scotty McGregor today, who's the Ironbirds pitching coach up in Aberdeen, and he was the master of just throwing the ball just under the right-handed hitter's hands, and it's hard for them to get to it. So you hit it pretty well, you have a pretty good swing, but the ball's just in enough not to get the full extent of hitting the ball in the barrel of the bat.
So here's Reimold off the bench. PA was 0 for 2. Nolan takes high. You got a 3-game hitting streak going. 3 hits in that streak, and 5 hits on the homestand. Takes high, ball 2. Orioles down by 5. It's an 8-3 Angels lead. There's a strike in the outside corner. The Angels have out-hit the Orioles by just 1, 8-7, but 4 of the Angels' hits are home runs, driving in all of the runs. The Orioles have hit 1 home run. Markakis has a solo home run. That came in the 6th inning. Three and 1 the count. Broken bat bouncer towards short, hit slowly. Ibar charges, gloves, and throws, and he got him. Reimold retired for the second out here in the Orioles' 7th inning. Time now for you to text in your vote for the AT&T Player of the Game. Here are the candidates: Vladimir Guerrero, 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. Nick Markakis, a double, a home run, and 2 RBIs. Or Cesar Estouras, who has a 3-hit night. Text in your vote now. Have your voice heard. A, B, or C to 51862. So Oliver records the first 2 outs. Here's Brian Roberts, who is 1 out of 3. His single came in the first inning, scored a run. He's now hitting 7 straight. Curveball bends in for a strike. One and 1. Oliver did get in the game yesterday, as Jim mentioned. He faced 2 batters. The only reliever the Angels didn't use yesterday was Shane Lukes.
Yeah, Luke struggled in that Friday night game. The Orioles won. And then again, Oliver, very deliberate, and then all of a sudden, a little snap with the wrist. A little bit of cut, a little bit of take it off. Curveball at 78, fastball at 91, so there's a nice 13, 14 mile per hour difference. And they're going to try to come in, and they get it in all over the fists.
Right,
Brian Roberts.
Shortstop, yeah. There's Ibar. Gets it to first, and the Orioles go 3 up, 3 down. Well, led to the 8th at Camden Yards, the Angels with a 5-run lead.
Second by Guerrero as they pitch around Abreu to get to Guerrero, and he makes the Orioles pay. 3-run shot.
AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Here's Kendry Morales leading off. Chris Ray stays on.
Yeah, he talked about Figgins getting up a lot. It seems like Morales hits every inning too. Well, great story. 21-year-old. Defects from Cuba, goes to the Dominicans, ends up signing with the Angels for a bunch of money. And it was kind of interesting. We talk about Steven Strasburg, the #1 draft choice, asking, I don't know, originally was what, I don't know,
50 million,
and now they The Nationals have said they've offered him more, but when Morales got a pretty good signing bonus, but the rest of it was contingent on him coming to the United States and performing well, and they lose to Shera, who they trade for last year, as you mentioned, Casey Kochman, a number of players going to Atlanta, and then this guy steps in and he hadn't missed a beat. In fact, he's only about 4 home runs behind Teixeira, and he's not making near as much money.
Well, the Nationals are in a tough spot because obviously they'd like to sign the talent of Strasburg, but if you give him what Scott Boras wants, how do you go into that clubhouse, the guys that are already in the big leagues, and tell them, well, you got to earn it? You know, it's a tough balance that the clubs have to do at signing time.
A nice pitch right there, nicely located. A big part of the Oriole future, and I think we forget how good Chris Ray was when he came up, and a lot of it had to do with movement. And Rick Cranitz says that as his arm gets stronger, shoulder was bothering him, the Tommy John a year and a half ago, is that the location will get better, movement will get better, and that's part of his MO. And you know, it seemed for a young pitcher, boy, he made great pitches and a great movement, great velocity when it came up, and that's changed a little bit. But trying to recapture it, so he'll have an opportunity over the last 6 weeks and in the years to come. There's a strike that he doesn't get. Yeah, it's not like the Lerners. I mean, they did offer Teixeira $188 million. They did go out and get Adam Dunn, $10 million for the next 2 years. So it's not like they don't want to spend money.
Well, 2 guys that have proven that they can play.
Oh, no, you're right. Oh, if somebody told me, here's the deal, I'm going to give you the most money ever by a #1 draft choice, and you have an opportunity to come to the big leagues and make millions and millions and millions and millions more.
Reimoldover has it for the out, 2 down.
I'd want to seize that opportunity. Whether I was Michael Gibbons, the Orioles' second round draft choice, high school player that won't be able to draft for 3 years. But at the end of the day, hey, man up, take the money, come out and prove you can play. It's going to be more money than ever. You're right. And you know what? If you think there's a sense of entitlement, wait till he gets into, they give him the ball, regardless of how much money he gets. He's still going to have to prove it. Nobody, doesn't matter how much money you get. You still have to come and play every day, and you got to try to get better every day you play.
Earlier in the week, I was with Brad Bergeson at his appearance at ESPN Zone, and he talked exactly about that. He said, you know, when you're in high school, as he was drafted out of high school, you're the guy, you're the stud, you're the star. Then you get drafted, and you show up, and you look around, and everybody that is there was the star, the stud, and now there might be a guy better than you there.
Well, apparently this kid is very gifted, and you know, to me, I think it's great that baseball is going to get somebody with the potential to do this, because that's what the game's always about. You're always hoping that good players and players that want to get better and understand the dynamics of the game, the reasons. But you better relate to the people, not only that pay you, but the people who come out and pay your salary, and that's the fans. Because everybody else would jump at signing for that kind of money.
Matthews pounces it to short. There's his Torres, gets it to first. Chris Ray has a 3-up, 3-down inning. He's retired all 4 batters. Birds come up in the 8th, down by 5.
Yeah, just to touch on for one last minute about Steven Strasburg, I know that, from what I've read, Scott Boras wants to try to equate him to Daisuke when he came out of Japan, where he was a free agent and he was able to negotiate with all the clubs. But again, that was a 27-year-old pitcher that had pitched an international ball, was pitcher of the year. I mean, it proved that he can pitch, and he struggled. He was 18-3 last year. He's had his problems. So it will be interesting as that ball's off Mathis' glove and to see how this plays out. Of course, everybody, Ryan Zimmerman said, boy, if you draft a guy number 1, you certainly want to try to sign him, but within reason. Otherwise, they'll get the number 1 and 2 drafts next year, right?
Yeah, and he's also wasted the whole summer.
Well, and then how long is it going to take you to get to the big leagues after you do something? And you're not going to be asking for any less money, I wouldn't think.
They were talking about him maybe joining the Nationals this year, coming right to the big leagues. We just got to get in shape now.
Well, apparently he's been working out, and apparently he's a great kid. They tell the stories that he used to rake the infield. Another great pitch by Oliver because he kept it in on the hands of Asturias. And tough to center it up as we look at Brian Bass, who pitched yesterday briefly and ineffectively in that 13th inning.
So 1 down in the 8th, and the ground ball is short by Asturias. Ibar got him. There's Adam Jones. So Cesar Asturias retired for the first time tonight. Adam has an RBI and a ground out. He's hit 3 ground balls, and tough break in the 5th inning. Asturias was on at first base, and on a 3-2 pitch he was sent. And the second baseman, Meister Asturias, broke to second to cover, and Jones hit a bullet towards the middle that went right to Asturias for a double play. So instead of a base hit, there was an inning-ending double play.
Yeah, terrific at bat by Adam. Nothing to pay for it. But that is big league baseball. Again, you'll just show up tomorrow. You'll have some more quality at bats, and at the end of the year, you're going to have a pretty good year. In fact, a very good year. But the difficult thing, I can't speak it as a hitter, and I can imagine when you've got about 4/10 of a second, and you got to maintain that focus and that intensity and all that throughout the year. But to me, the difficult thing of being a starting pitcher, you try to be as good in August and September as you were in April and May and June, and that's the challenge of having those really good, exceptional years. And in his second year, that's going to be the challenge for Adam. Appears to me he's embracing it.
There's a ball. Oh, excuse me. A little bit of a late call there by Sam Holbrook. Adam started going to first base.
Well, it's been he smiles. I guess it gets the edge. Nicely presented by the catcher, but we've seen some other questionable pitches. It's a pretty big strike zone.
At times.
Yeah.
3-2 the count on Jones with 1 down. Slices it to right. Right there is Abreu. As for the out, 2 down in the Oriole 8th inning.
Well, there he is, Darren Oliver, proving that it's not about radar guns to get people out. Terry Crowley was saying that today, the Oriole hitting instructor. He said, you see some guys throwing 96, 97 and just get knocked all around the ballpark. Other guys come in throwing 90, 91, 92, and the ball moves a little bit more. You don't pick it up. They keep it out of the middle of the plate, in and out, mix up their pitches. Some kind of deception that other pitchers don't have.
Markakis to left field. They're pretty deep. Rivera's there. Has it for the out. And Darren Oliver has his second straight 3-up, 3-down inning. We'll head to the 9th at Camden Yards. The Angels have an 8-3 lead. Angels lead, 4 home runs, driving in all 8 runs. And we head to the 9th inning. Dave Tremblay on the bench has had an interesting discussion with home plate umpire Sam Holbrook. I would guess on the pitch that Adam Jones thought was ball 4. And they had an interesting discussion, never heated.
Yeah, you're not supposed to argue balls and strikes, so he's not arguing, he's just discussing.
Stating his opinion. Here's Brian Bass coming on in the 9th.
Yeah, a little as we look at Nolan Reimold. He comes on to play left field after hitting for Felix PA. A little confidence booster right there. He really struggled yesterday. And again, he's just side to side. And sinker baller. Yesterday, there are the numbers. And it just seems to me that, again, all those innings that this bullpen has pitched, we talked about it all year long. If your starters just don't go deep enough, for whatever the reason is, injuries, inexperience, or whatever, sooner or later, and as the games mount, so do the innings, and it's tough for bullpenners to be at their best.
There's a chopper foul, third base side up the bat of Mathis. Figgins and Asturias will follow.
I'd like to see him use his changeup a little bit more. Command the sinker, throw that off. He's got a good curveball if he gets on top of it.
There's the 2-2 pitch sharply at the short. Asturias, a couple of steps to his right, plays the hop, gets it the first, 1 down. Well, Shane Lutz is getting loose, as is Jose Arredondo. And Oliver has pitched 2 innings.
Yeah, Lutz struggled on Friday, and Arredondo was lights out yesterday. I don't care what his number is. He threw the ball great. 66.
Here's Sean Figgins up again. He's been on base twice with a couple of walks. And Jim, you're talking about all the work by the Orioles bullpen. How about this? The Orioles bullpen has pitched 4 or more innings in a game this year in 45 of the 117 games. And of those, 5 or more 21 times, 6 or more 12 times, and that has a cumulative effect.
Yeah, you can talk all you want about trying to get into the late innings, and if you have a bullpen and you get 5 starters, and on this bullpen there's what, 8 guys?
7 now.
Well, now 7, but so there's usually 12 or 13 pitchers, and of those 7 pitchers, there's 2 or 3 guys you really don't want to use unless you have to on most clubs. So and they're usually in the middle. They're the guys that don't pitch as well. You have your couple of setup guys, and then you have your closer, maybe 2, 3, 4 setup guys, and then your closer. And if you get into the soft underbelly of the bullpen, that's when the runs mount. And we saw that on Friday, even the Angels, when Shane Lutz came in, and he's been struggling a little bit.
Well, if you just think of it from this perspective, so 45 times the bullpen has asked to get 4 innings of outs. If it's only 3 innings of outs, that's 45 more innings that a starter pitches. And it's only 3 outs, but over a course of a year. And again, I mean, the complete game nowadays is pretty much the thing of the past, unless you're Roy Halladay.
No, but you don't want to. All you want to do is be able to get to the part of your bullpen where you can sequence for a pitcher or 2.
Right. So if you go 7.
Yeah. Or 6. I think 6 1/3, 6 2/3. And again, there we go. Now, I don't think so. Like I said yesterday, Nick Markakis made so many throws. It looked like he was pitching as he did when he was a kid because of the balls hit. But there's your first and not third this situation because he got on the ball. But it's a left-handed hitter taking advantage of the hole, looking for a ball. So unless you make a good pitch, they're going to just turn on it and find a hole. Because of the speed, you have to hold the runner on. So it's command, it's location. That's what has to get better. Now, for the starters, I think it will. To me, the talent level of the Orioles starters, if it doesn't get better next year, it's their fault because they're going to get the experience and they have the natural ability to do it. They're just going to have to hone that natural ability into the skills to do it.
And that's why this season is so important. And as Andy McPhail repeated even today when he talked to the media after the Aubrey Huff trade, there are pitchers here they would have preferred still were honing their craft in the minor leagues, but the fact is they're here. There's Madison, Jeremy Guthrie, believe that was Tillman there. I looked very quickly, but they are gaining the experience here, and this is where that is Tillman. They're going to be asked to get the outs here. So where better to learn than against where you want to be anyway. And here's Sam Holbrook and Dave Tremblay, I believe, or it might have been Rick Kranitz behind him.
Well, I'm sure they're still just settle down. Come on, Sam. Couple more innings. Well, you can look at the look on Terry Crowley's face. It's tough enough to hit good pitching if you're not going to get the balls called balls and the strikes called strikes. And again, Brian Bass just not able to make his pitches, and he falls behind.
Well, based on that argument, you get the feeling that the Orioles bench feels that the Angels are getting more strike calls than the Oriole pitchers.
And usually when you look at the scoreboard, it's 8-3. You feel that way. There's the quick pitch. Well, if you look at the rubber game down in Texas, you think Boston would have had Mizawa, the young 23-year-old right-hander from Japan. But they've had all kinds of injuries. So a lot of teams have had to do that, and we just hope the players have enough presence and their command's good and their mechanics are good enough and they're mature enough. There's a strike.
Well, they can handle it, applauding the umpire. So 3-2 as Bass gets back in it. 2 on and 1 out. Abreu has been on base twice, single and a run scored. He was walked intentionally and scored a run. Runners are going, and it's grounded foul. So up by 5, Mike Scioscia not satisfied, looking to add to the lead. Sends the runners to avoid the double play because Vladimir Guerrero's on deck, and he's got a 2-home run, 5 RBI night.
We also have a guy who does strike out a lot, Bobby Abreu, who leads this team. He's got came in with a 40% on base percentage, but did have 80 strikeouts. But usually he'll make contact. And if he strikes out, you're going to have to fool him because he's a contact hitter. And it's got to be, and we saw that occasion from Mattis.
Runners go again. 3-2 is swung on and missed. Throw to second base, and out at second base is the trail runner Meister Estores. Perfect throw by Weeder. Strikeout, throw out, double play. Bottom of the ninth coming up. The O's need 5. Continued between Sam Holbrook and the Orioles bench. Dave Tremblay, the manager, leaning on the rail. And you see behind Brian Roberts there Rick Kranitz, who may have said something before the argument ended. And they just discussed back and forth, and that was that. Sam Holbrook allowing Dave Tremblay to vent a little bit. And here's Jose Arredondo coming on to pitch the ninth in this 8-3 game.
Yeah, he got him into the he pitched real well yesterday. He was along with some of their other Matt Palmer early on. He pitched great, got him into the 13th inning when they got all the hits and runs. But he's got great stuff. He had 3 pitches yesterday that I mean, fastball was in the mid-90s. Had a great change up and a curveball. Everybody's talking about the ball dancing and moving all over the place.
Luke Scott, first ball swinging first base. That is a fair ball, and he'll be tagged out. So Kendry Morales charged the ball and grabbed it before it had time to go foul. And Luke Scott is out on one pitch, one away. That's a heads-up play by Morales.
Yeah, it's Holbrook's call.
And that was fair. It was on the other side of the line.
And until it gets to the bag, it's the home plate umpire. Luke's going, why me? Why didn't it go foul?
So one down in the ninth. Here's Matt Wieters. Wieters hitless on the night. His 5-game hitting streak on the line. Santana went 6. He's the pitcher of record on the plus side. Oliver 2 innings, and now Arredondo.
To give you an idea about their bullpen, in April, the bullpen's ERA was 7.07. Next month it was 4.98. Next month it was 4.19. So again, this 3.44 in the going into July. Now in August it's much better. So horrible start. And again, they lost Scott Shield along the way with knee problems. They lost their closer from last year, even though they added Brian Fuentes, who has 33 saves, done a terrific job. But it's the Jepsons and the Bulgers of the world, and Arredondo, who was sent out in June because he was really struggling after going 10-2 last year.
Wieters fouls it back. The thing that's pretty amazing this deep into the season, the Angels playing their 116th game. Their starters ERA is 4.85. The bullpen ERA is 4.83. This late, it's pretty amazing that it's almost the exact same ERA, whether it's a starter or reliever.
And normally, as collectively, they're right around, in the low 4s. As Wieters will get a walk. That's not what Arredondo wanted to do. Matt will say thank you.
Orioles on the move after the game. They'll be in St. Petersburg against the Tampa Bay Rays, and it's a rookie matchup. Jason Birkin 2-10 against David Price, who is 5-5. In that 3-game series, 5 rookies will pitch. The only veteran is James Shields. He'll pitch the finale for Tampa on Thursday. The Orioles send Birkin, Tillman, and Mattis. First 2 games for Tampa, Price and Neiman.
Yeah, I talked to Jeff Neiman early in the year. I was talking to Joe Madden, and Jim Hickey came over, and he was a former #1 draft choice, and I said, well, how about just commanding your fastball? You're a big guy. He's like 6'8". Watched him pitch the other night. Actually, the Angels knocked him around, even though they didn't play very well defensively. But a good arm. And then I watched the Angels play David Price. They beat him the other night. He was throwing 97. He's got a very for a #1 draft choice. Very funky windup, but a terrific arm.
Good eye by Melvin. Takes low, 2-1 after the walk to Wieters.
It's kind of interesting to watch David Price. He'll have a chance tomorrow night. He doesn't really sync up his legs. Usually you break over your knee, or you do something to sync up the lower part and the bottom part.
Mora gets in the one. Back it goes. It is out of here. Melvin Mora connects on Arredondo. And the Orioles are down by 3. Still only 1 down in the 9th inning.
There you go. Last home run, the 11th of the month of July.
Number 4 for Melvin Mora.
With Aubrey Huff leaving.
Since the All-Star break.
Yeah, with Huff leaving, you think that Mora's going to get a lot of playing time. And right here, point A to point B. That's what Terry Crowley talks about. He beat it pretty well, didn't he? What a great camera that allows you to see where the bat head is and think about the path of the ball to the bat to the ball. And boy, he got that out in front. Terrific swing.
And this is the exact situation Mike Scioscia was hoping to avoid, going to the 9th inning with a 5-run lead, having to get his closer up. And here's Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, out for a chat with Arredondo, who has lost the plate after the home run to Mora.
Well, you look at what he did. He pitched 2 innings yesterday, a couple of strikeouts, a couple of hits. So when you're young and maybe your arm's a little bit tired, you better slow it down. Because at the end of the day, what did we see? We saw Darren Oliver come in, not throwing near as hard, and made great pitches.
So Melvin's first home run since the break. Jim mentioned July 11th was his last. Number 4 on the year.
Well, you'd like to see him get hot over the last 6 months. There is their closer, Brian Fuentes.
So you go to the 9th with a 5-run lead, hoping not to have to warm up your closer, and there he is. 3-0. The Orioles need to get 2 on to get the tying run to the plate, and still 1 down.
Well, you're going to see Ty Wigginton take the next 2 pitches. If he doesn't, he missed the sign.
And he took 1. 3-1 the count on him. Reimold's on deck, then Roberts. Wigginton swings through it. 3-2. Ty is 0 for 3 on the night. 3 for 17 on the homestand. Good cut there, and he fouled it back.
Yeah, tough decision if you're Jeff Mathis and you're catching. You got a young pitcher, commands all over the place. Yesterday used all his pitches. I don't know if they're going to do that this afternoon or this evening.
Wigginton pops it up. Abreu charge it in. Right fielder will get there and has it for the second out. So the Orioles down to their final out, down 8-5. And here's Nolan Reimold for his second at-bat. Reimold pinch hit for Felix Pie in the bottom of the 7th inning and stayed in the game defensively in left field. So the Orioles have now hit 2 home runs in this game.
We have a fan that ran out on the field. A very smart thing to do. And corralled by Baltimore's finest. Kind of an expensive jaunt to center field and back, don't you think?
Well, he'll get to see what the inside of a jail cell looks like.
Yeah. If people are applauding, I don't know who they're applauding. I can't imagine they're applauding the kid. It's just not a very smart thing to do.
So Arredondo waiting to go back to work. Reimold will come up with the Orioles down to their final out. The Orioles have 8 hits in this game. The Angels have 9. Anaheim, or the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, have out-homered the Orioles 4-2. Every run scored by the Angels came in on those home runs.
Now, you really go back to this game for David Hernandez. It was a series of 3 pitches in the 6th inning.
They're ready now to resume action.
I need a couple of base runners. Their closer ready.
Reimold takes a strike. Reimold was given half of the night off. A pinch hit for PA. Looks it over low, 1-1. Reimold to left center field. That ball's hit well. Long run from Matthews, and that's against the wall. And it gets away from Matthews. Reimold hustling to second base. He'll head to third with a triple. So the Orioles are not done yet. I'm surprised the way Matthews played that up by 3. He knows this ballpark very well. He just got too close to the wall.
Yeah, I think with 2 outs, Jim, though, you know, with a 3-run lead, you're thinking maybe the ball will die and get to it right here. You're in trouble. So you went a couple of steps too late, and then the ball jumps off. And what's the difference, though, between third and if you can make the final out of the game? But again, once you get close to that wall, you know you made a mistake. The ball's going to go by you.
Well, what the difference is for the Angels, here comes their closer, Brian Fuentes, coming into the game. The tying runs in the on-deck circle. It's now a save situation. third base his responsibility. It is a save situation. So the closer, Brian Fuentes, comes on after he blew the save yesterday in the ninth inning on the double stolen base and sac fly that got the tying run in and made it 8-8. There's a little bit more wiggle room here, up by 3 and 2 outs in the inning.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday, the tough to save, the one-run variety. So the Orioles do storm back on the sacrifice fly by Adam Jones. Well, you still need another base runner of some sort. The good news is Ryan Roberts has stepped into the plate, singled his first time up, strike out a couple of groundouts, and yet to hit a double. Doesn't need a double though. That'd be nice. Kind of expect a double a game, don't you think? 45 already.
And there's one hit tonight that was back in the first inning. Now, if this Torres does get up, keep in mind with the trade of Aubrey Huff this afternoon, the Orioles are a man short tonight on the bench. So the only two players on the bench, Andino or Moeller, very unlikely either will come up. As Torres has only 2 home runs this year, but they're both right-handed from the right side, and he would be batting right-handed if Roberts can get on.
Yeah, one thing about Brian Fuentes is this will be his 40th plus inning. He doesn't walk a whole lot of guys, 14 of them. You've seen him pitch before. Not overpowering, just gets you out. Very deceptive, big sweeping breaking ball. That's what Jones hit. And there's a good fastball up and in.
Ryan Roberts pops it up. Figgins calling at third. And he has it for the out, and the Angels hold on, and they win 3 out of 4, dropping the opener and winning the last 3 in a row. We invite you to join us again tomorrow night. O's on the road, game 1 in the series in Tampa. Jason Birkin will be on the mound. He'll go against David Price. Coverage on Mass and HD at 6:30 with O's Extra presented by AT&T.